Hey kids, do you like games such as To the Moon or That Dragon Cancer? You'll be thrilled to know that tonight's podcast is brought to you by Blonami's new mobile game, Cancervania.
Does infinite sadness grip you daily and nightly? Do your fears take the form of Count Dracula? Is his dark ass about to give you cancer? Then play as Cletus Belmont on his adventure to tackle the darkness that is about to infect and fuck his prostate. Pay to win with pachinko coins. Knock the sickness out of your mobile device with Cancervania by Blonami. Welcome back to another week of the Good Ole Gamers podcast. I'm Lyle McClendon. I'm here as always with Brandon Gentry.
Go fuck yourself.
Go fuck yourself.
I will. Thank you.
I'm glad the tables have turned on you.
My have they.
We have a first-time guest with us tonight, Mr. Mike McDaniel.
Hello, I am ZombieMike from the Bloodstained fan forums, and appreciate your southern hospitality and kidnapping me and ball gagging me to come on your podcast.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, we do that to a lot of people.
Yeah,
you know, we spread the love around. You just wait till you see Lyle's basement.
Yeah, you'll be standing and facing the corner. Josh. It's very my basement is very Blair Witch like.
Well, you got a lot of cool shit on the walls here. I see a Schlossberg shotgun and 8-bit Billy the Blackmouth.
That is the official Schlossberg shotgun that Bert Lobain used.
Oh, damn. Remember Bert.
Yeah, never forget Bert.
Never forget.
As you can tell from our intro music, it's a special episode. Mike runs the Bloodstained Community Broadcast, his very own podcast.
Yep.
And
you got a URL you want to plug?
Just go to bloodstainedfanforums.com. You can find everything there.
Okay.
Nice. If you remember anything about Bloodstained, we talked about it
very briefly in
one episode. It's a Castlevania inspired, which we are talking Castlevania and Bloodstained tonight. So we'll clue you in on that.
You're going to have to tell us the good news of our Lord and Savior, Igarashi.
Has anyone ever spoke to you about our good Lord Iga?
No,
just knock on your door and ask.
Tonight you will receive the pamphlet. But as always, at the beginning of our episode, we're going to kick it off with a little bit of news. We kind of have we have a hefty load for you tonight, indeed.
Been saving this one up for a while.
Yeah, you got to curl your toes for this one.
My toes are already curled.
We're going to kick it off, though. February 26th was yesterday. I didn't fuck that up, right? I didn't fuck the date up. Good. I fucked the episode number
I signed
up
enough
earlier.
Dates today with fucking real estate shit. I know it's for sure the 27th.
Well, the 26th was the 20th. Yesterday is when they celebrated the 20th anniversary for Pokemon.
Pokemon!
And they have announced the next generation Pokemans.
Gotta catch them all.
Pokemon was the Pokey of the man in the thing where the guy comes out of the thing and he makes the fall off the side.
Indeed. Thank you, Bill. Pokemon Sun and Moon have been announced. That is the next generation Pokemon.
One of these days I will get a 3DS and I will play these games someday.
I've never played a Pokemon game.
Really?
My wife loves Pokemon. My kid loves Pokemon. And, they're interested in this new one coming out. Actually, we don't have a Wii U yet, so we've been on the fence about it, and now that they've announced that new one that's coming out.
Yeah, the NX.
Well, what's the one that's coming out this year? This next
NX.
the Pokemon game.
Sun and Moon.
Sun and Moon, yeah.
Towards the end of this year.
Oh, but they have this fighting one, right?
Oh,
fighting-
Pokken tournament. That's
tournament.
like next month, I think.
Yeah, like a Tekken type Pokemon.
That looks
fighting
interesting.
thing.
I have it pre-ordered.
Well, she's wanting a Wii U just because of this one game.
The Wii U's turning out to be a solid system,
Yeah,
so
I'm
it's
a
not a
whole
bad buy.
console generation behind. I don't have a PS4 or Xbox One.
I
but
just recently got the Wii U, and
Yeah,
I don't regret it. You
well,
know,
we are tempted. It looks like it's got a lot of good games on
It
there.
sucks it
For
took
the
to the-
price point, man. Like that's one good thing about Nintendo. You can always count on Nintendo's like Nintendo games, Mario, Zeldas, and all that. They're always going to be good. And there's a lot of diverse shit.
It does suck though. It took the Wii U to the end of its lifespan
Indeed.
to get worth buying finally, but it's worth buying now. I'd say it's got a lot of solid titles.
Mario
on it.
Maker is what sold me completely on Wii U.
So to celebrate their 20th anniversary, they've announced not only Sun and Moon, but they're about to put out this game. Are they doing anything else special for Pokemon's anniversary?
There is a special edition 3DS
Yeah.
coming out that is the new 3DS, and it's got Pokemon Blue, Red, and Yellow all loaded onto it.
So since this is coming out later this year, Good Ole Game Fest's Pokemon tournament's going to be pending a lot on its release date. If it releases before Game Fest, I guess we're probably just going to run the newest one.
I think I read August, October.
I just read late this year.
I think it said holiday 2016, so it'll
It
probably
might
be
be
around Christmas.
It might be before or after Game Fest. We'll see.
I know that nobody else gives a shit about this, so I'm just gonna go ahead and say it and get it out there. And the only reason I do, because I don't play, I've never played any of the other games, but I am a World War I and II kind of fanatic. I like that shit. Battlefield 5 has been announced that it's going to take place during World War I.
Oh, that's sweet.
Get
I
back
think
to
that's
the
kind of
basics.
I'm kind of pumped about that.
I played the fuck out of Battlefield 1942 on PC.
I was a huge fan of the original Call of Duty games when they
Yeah,
were,
1 through 3
yeah,
were good.
man. Definitely.
2 was my game. That was the only game I've ever really had any kind of skill in.
The old I like the first person shooters that take place in like that era.
Yeah, there was
And-
a Kickstarter for one here recently. I was tempted to back. That was all just trying to get back to that. But hey, if Battlefield's doing it now,
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited
Well,
to see how that
Yeah.
goes.
Call of Duty 1 through 3 were great, and then this became the copy-paste game that
I can't
it is
say
now.
much because I did play Modern Warfare 2. I never played the first one, but I got pretty hooked on Modern Warfare 2 for a while.
hey, when it comes to Modern Warfare, I love 1. I
About choked Brendan to death with that comment.
love Modern Warfare 1 and 2.
I'm-
I got the 1,000 gamer score on both of those, but that's when I stopped. I didn't play anything after those. Not even the World War II game that came out.
If I was going to play Modern Warfare, I'd just play Planet Side 1 or 2. That's just like the superior version. But,
we left that Pokemon without me being able to use the term Pokeversary. I really wanted to say Pokeversary.
Nice.
So they have this Pokemon Go coming out too, right?
yeah.
And it's based off Niantic's technology with Google for being in the real world and have this augmented reality where you actually go physically to these places and pick up Pokemon and battle these events for the Pokemon. And I don't know, are you guys familiar at all with Niantic's other?
Vaguely.
Yeah. Let's see, what's it called?
Kinda.
There's some. I know there's one like almost an espionage type game that they do. I can't remember.
It is, yeah. I've played it, and I can't believe the name's slipping me right now. But they have like a blue team and a green team, and they fight for territory. And you got to go to all these different places in real life to take over these places and battle for them. Deploy your resonators or whatever, and blow them up with these basically virtual bombs, which gets people arrested. It's called Ingress. That's the name of the game. So with Ingress, yeah, you go out and you get all of these virtual items, which are either bombs or resonators. And resonators are things that protect these portals that you find that are located in real popular places that are in real life. But like some of these places are churches, and some of these places are, for example, the what is the city that's just outside Coleman to the north?
Huntsville?
Yeah, they have a post office there that the cops stopped me at because I was walking around the damn thing and blowing off these virtual bombs. The post office called the cops on me.
I'm only an e-terrorist.
And, they're asking me what I'm doing walking around the post office, and I've got my daughter waiting on me in the car. She's got a face fully painted in Pikachu makeup because we were at a Coleman, some local festival. Coleman's got lots of local festivals. They're great. But yeah, she had her face painted as Pikachu, and the cops looking in like, what kind of weirdos we got walking around. And faces all painted and stuff, and I explained I'm playing this mobile game that requires you to actually be in a physical location. So my prediction is that Pokemon Go is going to get lots of people arrested.
I made the prediction
Some kid
last
gets
year.
shot to death. He's like, I was trying to get my master ball to work, and the cop shot me.
I made the prediction last year, and I'm going to make it again. I'm doubling down. Pokemon Go is going to be the most disappointing game of this year. Not because it's going to be bad, but because people put too much fucking hype into it. Everyone expects.
I don't think it's going to be as in detail as people think it.
Well, no, people act like this is the whole world's going to become the land of Pokemon. I'm like, no, you could almost all the shit y'all are talking about you could do on Pokemon Go, you could do on the DS game. If you wanted to walk into trainers walking down the road, and guess what? They could have a DS with them, and, you could have a battle with them right then. You didn't have to have Go for that. It hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen now.
Yeah.
People are just going to find out doing stuff sucks. That's why we play video games.
Well, I can tell you this from Ingress experience.
Amen.
Driving 30 miles away to capture a Pokemon is going to be a pain in your ass.
Oh, yes. Yes. Especially when people are going to throw their Pokeballs, and it's going to be like, oh, you're out of Pokeballs now. Would you like to buy some for 99 cents?
Oh, 3 shakes and it escaped.
Yeah, more like $2 for any kind of ball. You want a Master Ball, you're going to be paying up.
Every time you buy a Pokeball, somebody at Nintendo scratches their belly and laughs.
They probably have like a little machine that goes off in the corner that has that sound clip from that beer commercial. Brilliant! Like,
Nice.
why didn't we think about this before?
Well, happy Pokeversary, guys.
Yep.
Indeed.
Your favorite game's on the float.
Indeed.
What do you got? I got a bunch of stuff.
I don't have a shitload, but Streets of Rage 2 is getting vinyl.
I've seen that. Yeah. That is pretty gnarly.
London Company data disc. It's going to be about $35.
It'd be worth it.
They got 3 different versions, and versions are cool. You got your standard black vinyl. Then they got a transparent with a smoke effect, with blood splatter on it, and then there's just the transparent with the smoke effect. So, Streets of Rage 2 had a pretty solid soundtrack. If you're into the vinyl thing, that would be something you'd be interested in.
Yeah, it's good. I like when video game music gets attention.
Yeah, I've been wanting to see like some of the live orchestrated stuff whenever it comes around.
I was going to tell you, I don't know if you'd be able to go. I think it's in April or May.
Probably not.
The Final Fantasy Orchestra is coming to Nashville.
I would kind of like to see that. If Chrono Trigger comes around, I got to go see some Chrono Trigger done live. I like the Final Fantasy music, but nothing hit me like Chrono Trigger does.
Yeah, Nobuo Uematsu is one of my favorite VGM composers, man. So Final Fantasy all the way.
My douche flute just died.
Oh.
Womp, womp, womp.
Womp, womp, womp.
They've released some Shenmue 3 screenshots.
Shenmue 3, the only Kickstarter to beat out Bloodstained.
Mm-hmm.
It's looking pretty nice.
Do you ask about Chinese people in this one?
Have you seen any sailors?
Yes.
Yes, I'd like to know where the sailors are.
What do you know about sailors?
They like to show up at night. They prefer seamen, not sailors.
I like that one guy I like the one dude that you'd randomly talk to at the harbor, and he's like,
just who the hell you think you are? Get the hell away from me unless you want your ass kicked.
shit cracked me up. And I'm like, I hope all people in Japan are this fucking pissy.
I can't wait to. I'm going to visit there one day.
Now, I've never played a Shenmue game, but it was quite the talk while our Kickstarter was just ending. They were getting started up, and they were announced at E3, so they had like this,
Oh yeah, they had that shit backing them completely.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think brilliantly, I think Ben Judd knew that Shenmue was going to happen, so he was like, "Let's get in before that happens." Otherwise, yeah. So I think that the Bloodstained campaign was pushed quicker than Shenmue on purpose. I don't think that was a coincidence.
Probably.
But
That's
hey, we
smart.
have the record for when it happened. We got that record.
Yeah.
Of its time, it was the highest rated or highest funded Kickstarter for a video game. And then Shenmue 3 happened.
That's very impressive, though, compared next to Shenmue 3, because Shenmue 3 has been, talked about and revered for, fucking 10 years now?
Oh, yeah.
I guess. I must be the only guy that never even heard of Shenmue before
You're not.
any of this.
No, you're not at all.
It's
There's a
just like
bunch of people
The
that...
people who followed it have been wanting the third one for a long fucking time because the game left off at such a cliffhanger.
Well, either that's a lot of people or that's a lot of rich people. Or a few rich people. I mean,
Bill
because that
Gates is
thing,
like,
or
"Fuck."
individuals.
it was lit on fire, man. They flocked to that Kickstarter. It was crazy.
Shenmue is one of those games that, would really benefit from modern technology. I could see it being
120 fucking %.
I could see it being goddamn amazing with modern technology. So I'm
The
glad.
screenshots they've released are you know how when somebody describes a picture and they're saying it's a breathing picture kind of deal. I don't know the photography lingo, but it looks like looking at a fucking photograph. It's very photorealistic.
Just imagine what their sailors look like.
Yes,
Hot sailors.
most of them are really big. They come at night.
There is a game that's been announced by Cyanide Studios called Call of Cthulhu coming out.
I did notice the website come up. Hopefully, it's better than the Bethesda game. Or Bugthesta, I should say, because that game was so full of fucking bugs it was unplayable. Which sucks for me because even back then I was like, oh my god, Cthulhu game, I gotta play it, and it's like, oh, first save point, game crashes. I had to wait for months.
What the fuck?
I had to wait for months for a patch to get 2 more save points, and then it crashed.
What was the Elder Scrolls game before Skyrim?
Call of Cthulhu.
Yeah, that one. But no, I meant the Elder Scrolls game.
Oblivion.
Oblivion, yeah. I was in Oblivion, and they had an Innsmouth reference. So you could tell they're totally nuts for the Cthulhu's mythos.
Yeah, if only they could have ironed out the bugs in that one game. It seemed decent from what I played. I've never beat it due to bugs.
Try as they might.
I think Amnesia is probably the best Cthulhu-ish type game that's all first person like that. That was pretty creepy.
I own it. I still haven't played it yet. It's coming in my Steam quest.
Oh yeah, hot and steamy.
Indeed. I saw that Nintendo lowered its annual profit forecast from 35 billion yen to 17. So that's
cutting over. Well,
that's their forecasted
half.
profit. That's half. They say the 3DS and 3DS software sales have been lacking, but the Wii U and Wii U software has actually been performing better than they thought.
I hate to say it, because I am a Wii U fanboy. I'm a 3DS fanboy. Nintendo's got to pull their head out of their ass, though, and they got to cater to the more casual gamer now. That's what they're going to have to do. That's what NX is going to have to offer this year.
And NX is going to be kind of a Hail Mary pass.
It is. It's going to be I think, a sink or swim kind of thing from here on.
And it's not looking too good from my view, just because the whole the mobile controller thing, the touchpad controller.
Everything's a damn gimmick with Nintendo.
It is. Here, as of recently, since GameCube, man, it's been so fucking gimmicky.
Like, man, someone should let the president play Mario on a phone. It doesn't work.
Yeah, I know you're concerned about that touch screen controller. I'm hopefully they've got some kind of texture there for buttons. So. I don't know.
We'll find out.
Yeah, no one knows really anything about it at this point. It's all just rumors.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if
apparently they don't have it put a whole. Yeah, hopefully that. I mean, it looks like they haven't put a whole lot of stock into it either. Considering they lowered their forecasted profit for next year by 50%.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts. It's kind of disappointing to hear, especially because I just bought my first 3DS purchase, on their online store for Gunvolt. So that was my first game. I was like, hey, I'm contributing, and now they're sinking. So it's like when I watch football and the team starts losing, then I want to win. It's like, this is because I contributed.
Yeah.
I have damned my people. Sony somebody that hasn't lost any profits really here
I
recently.
don't know. They've kicked ass this generation.
They have patented
Yeah, I had the same bit too.
their very own power glove, pretty much. It's
What?
So bad.
Yeah, it's supposed to work with their VR set.
Yep.
Haptic feedback, maybe?
It does, I believe.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's got flex sensors, contact sensors. It's got a communication module for the VR set, so you can like pull your hand in front of you and see it.
Huh.
This is something when the last Game Fest when TJ had the Oculus set up. My little girl tried it, and she was putting her hand in front of her face trying to see her hand. It was fucking hilarious.
That's great. but
Womp.
600 is a little steep for an Oculus entry price, not to
Yeah.
mention the hardware to run it. So
Yeah.
I don't know if I'll be getting in that.
Even if it was like 200, I don't know if I would get it. It's very it's cool when you use it, but it's not something I want to use every day.
I seen where Microsoft was promising that HoloLens wouldn't be the next Kinect. And I was just like,
Yeah.
bullshit.
We'll see. I like the augmented reality thing. I think that's pretty cool. I mean, not the Google Glass type crap, but
Yeah.
something that could actually be useful if you could have some kind of user interface that overlays with your real environment. It sounds like
Hey,
something
when
neat.
they have like brain implants for this shit, I'm on board. But
Until we're in the Matrix, you don't want any part of
Yes.
it.
Do you
huh?
remember the old PlayStation commercial? I think it was when PS2 or maybe even 3 come out. But
probably
it was,
3 because
it
3
was
had some weird ass
advertising-
commercials.
It was advertising PS9.
Yeah, it's
and these
probably
people
3.
opened this little capsule and just held these little nanobots, and they were in the game. And it was like PlayStation 9. And I'm just like, fuck, I only have to be like 84
Then-
years
then
old
it-
to see that.
then it
but
cuts-
then I realized that it'll probably be out in like 4 years from now.
But then it cuts to this is your brain on drugs commercial. Like,
Henry Rollins is just like frying eggs in a pan.
Yeah.
It's like, God damn it, I'm so mad.
it cuts to some hobos like snorting 3 marijuanas in the corner.
Yeah.
It's-
His face turned inside out after 3 marijuanas.
With how much PlayStation's network gets hacked and shit, I don't want their nanobots in my brain.
Oh, no.
Shit, dude. Like, they make you go crazy. This is the equivalency of being on bath salts.
I read this book called Ready Player One, and it's
Oh,
all
yeah.
about virtual reality and this dystopian
Steven
future.
Spielberg himself is actually making a movie adaptation
shit.
of this right now. Yeah.
Oh, it's good, man.
They
I love that
cast
book.
the kid playing as the main guy in it.
so
the other
basically,
day.
it's going to be
Anybody
ET
I
again.
know?
Do what?
Is the kid anyone I know?
I don't think so. He's like a 14. I want to say it's the kid that's playing Spider-Man now, like in Civil War and all that shit.
Is that the same Spider-Man from the recent reboot? Okay, because
no.
I haven't seen any of
They're-
those Spider-Man.
Marvel is rebooting Spider-Man again.
Yeah, I need another Spider-Man origin story, please. I don't
No,
know who this guy
they're
is and
skipping
how
the
he got
origin
bit
story.
by a spider.
Like Disney Marvel owns Spider-Man from Sony
For
now.
better or worse.
Disney.
I think it'd be
owns
for better.
everything.
Yeah.
Well, the second rendition of Spider-Man wasn't bad. The first
I
one
actually
was
like.
awful.
I actually like the Amazing Spider-Man movies.
Yeah.
All right. Which I liked I liked Spider-Man 2, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 2. I liked it. We just had an explosion. the
Boing.
the Spider-Man 3 though. Topher Grace playing Venom can suck a dick.
Oh yeah,
That's the worst casting ever. Okay, something I want to bitch about before we get into our big segment of the news. Media, and I'm going to say this just straight out, just because nobody likes this guy. Media douche whore, fucking Kanye West,
Yeah.
motherfucker made an
Wait.
announcement today about what his new album is going to be titled.
We
And
gotta give him respect for this, though, right? I mean, I don't know anything
dude,
about this guy.
honestly, it kind of perplexes me a little bit because I'm just kind of like, my mind's blown that he didn't pick something, like a fucking Nintendo or a Super Nintendo.
copyrights.
He specifically said the name of his new album is going to be TurboGrafx 16.
Getting that hipster cred right there.
Dude, everybody... Oh, man, that just breaks my heart. I'm like, not my TurboGrafx 16,
Don't taint
you
it.
motherfucker.
Don't you taint it,
Fuck
Kanye.
you, Kanye West. The best thing you could do is find that Schlossberg and take the fucking same road that Burt Lomaine took. Or whatever the fuck
I've been
his
seeing
name
a great
was.
meme passing around. It has the what the fuck Captain Picard picture, and it says one of John Lennon's fan killed him. You need to step up your game, Kanye fans.
That's amazing.
He said it was one of his favorite gaming consoles when he was a kid. He said Blazing Lasers was probably my favorite game on that console.
That really sucks because Blazing Lasers is one of my favorites, and I highly doubt I play it anymore in the future.
Basically, we got a Kanye fan here.
I'm saying that you got to at least
Brandon,
say,
I love you, and I've known you for some years now. I will hop this motherfucking table though and swing. Do not. You could call me a God hater before you call me a Kanye fan. Like anything.
Do you like fish sticks? I love that episode. I'm the voice of the generation.
He also talked about playing Super Spy on Neo Geo with somebody he grew up with.
Isn't it fucking really ironic to anybody that how Kanye West picks the two hipster-ass consoles to talk about Neo Geo and TurboGrafx? He's not like, oh, SNES and Genesis. And I'm like, you privileged motherfucker. Like, who do you know growing up had a fucking Neo Geo? Let me ask you that.
Exactly 0 people.
You know,
Precisely.
he just recently got his ass literally raped on Twitter, though, right?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, okay.
Not figuratively raped.
So-
Literally raped.
I hope.
Figuratively, but in the past, literally raped. Well, no, it was consensual, because recently Kanye attacked Wiz Khalifa and Amber Rose on Twitter, and the ex, Amber Rose, you know, he had dated her in the past, and apparently she was some kind of prostitute or whatever that Wiz Khalifa has now got a kid with. And after attacking them on Twitter, his ex, Amber Rose, responded by tweeting, "Aw, at Kanye West, are you mad I'm not around to play in your asshole anymore? Hashtag finger in the booty ass bitch with a finger emoji."
Great.
Oh.
He does like fish sticks.
Dude, suck a dick, Kanye West. You need to, like, be like an ostrich. Make like an ostrich and
I can't
bury
wait for
your
him to
fucking
run for
head in the
president.
sand somewhere.
No, this is good for the retro gaming community. Now everybody who loves Kanye for no apparent reason
That
at all.
motherfucker just made TurboGrafx prices probably go out the fucking roof.
Yes.
That's right.
Great. My collection won't get any bigger. I'm gonna punch that son of a bitch in the face if I can get a hold of him. We're driving to Los Angeles.
I'll
next
bail you
month.
out, man.
Hey,
Let's do it.
Dude, we're gonna make the scooting in part 3 be about us driving out there, scooting on out there, so I can punch Kanye West in the
We
face.
jump this privacy fence on a scooter.
Hello, gamers! Have our flag.
Take your Super Spy for Neo Geo, put it on eBay, and jack the price way up. Because everybody's going to
I'll
play
sign
now.
it Kanye West.
Yeah.
Dude, they just need to make like a Shaq Fu-esque Kanye West game where all you can do is lose. Like, there's no... Almost like Shaq Fu.
Yeah.
There's almost no way to win.
If you bought the game, you lost.
Do you have anything else before we get on
No,
our
I
big
don't.
thing?
Let's
Because
get on to the
this is
big-
going to take us a minute, because we got to do a little clarifying here.
Yeah, we got to do a little foot and mouse type thing. Eat some words.
Yeah, we do. So we're going to do it, and we're just going to get it over with, because we're not good at eating our own words, but we have to at this
I'm
point.
good at eating. Have you seen my physique?
Well, me
I can
too,
fucking
but
eat anything.
You haven't been eating too many words, because they're 0 calories.
Good call. But
Sorry.
I got no problem admitting I'm wrong, because that's the only way
Yeah.
you can be intellectually honest with anything.
It is true. The Coleco Comedian Kickstarter got delayed. Big fucking surprise.
Well,
And
let's go back to what we talked about.
we're gonna start back. Yeah, let's start from the beginning with this.
A couple episodes ago, we defended the Chameleon because at the time they had just started the New York Toy Fair, and we had some trolls. Let me get a drink of that.
We're drinking Fireball whiskey by chance. Bitch whiskey.
Fireball.
Bitchski.
Anyways, they just started the Toy Fair. I don't think episode 45 is recording. That, and there were some trolls coming out saying, "No, it's just an SNES and a Jaguar sale." No evidence to support it at the time. So I'm like, "Yeah, you're just internet conspiracy dipshits. I see a million of y'all every day. Y'all are fucking dumb." But
Trolls.
Lo and behold, they were correct this time, though.
Broken clock can be right twice, 2 times a day. So, literally, as we were recording, evidence came to light that they actually did shove a fucking SNES Junior into a Atari Jaguar shell. And we'll link to a few pieces of evidence. I don't know exactly what to make of it yet. Well, I do, but I don't want to admit it. I'm
looking at the guts of a SNES Junior right now.
We just had to gut it just to prove a point.
Yeah, you can see clearly if you look up the pictures that the back end of the SNES Junior is sticking outside of the Jaguar shell,
wrapped with fucking electrical tape.
I even took the time to stop and count the pins in the picture. Same exact pins,
identical. The block-out pins, like where those two are missing, like for the cart, identical.
Yep. The connectors were identical. The AV and power connectors.
Fucking SNES
proprietary
and N64 with an adapter, or no, the N64 in the
GameCube.
I'm sorry, the GameCube has the 3 cable fucking odd input AV cable for any like Nintendo products.
Yeah,
and you can see that the
center line
AC and AV are right next to each other.
And center line to center line, they got about an inch difference between the AV cable to the power cable. Exact same on the very back of their prototype. Not only that, their prototype could only be turned on by being plugged in, as in they didn't have a working power button, which is very convenient with the Super Nintendo power button being a switch and not a button. So they just switched it on and shoved it in a case.
Really odd how it only plays SNES ROMs at demo when you got all these companies making exclusive titles for your fucking console.
The console is supposed to be USB only, but they hardwired in SNES controllers. And
it has a native output of HDMI, and there's no HDMI port on this
composite
console.
only. So all the evidence is pretty damning, and while it's not 100% confirmed, it's pretty damn confirmed.
Well, the fact that they pushed their Kickstarter back almost 100% confirms it.
And the guy that you guys talked to has refused to give any comment on this.
They are deleting fucking comments off of their page.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fucked up.
Every internet huckster I've ever seen does this shit, like the fucking Food Babe on Facebook.
They are
David Avocado Wolf.
Straight up removing people's shit off of there that are like counter negative against what they're trying to do.
Yeah. When will people figure out that responding to stuff on the internet that, actually has some weight to it is not by deleting it, but addressing it?
Deleting it just hurts your claim more than anything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And another thing, when we're talking about this, we've had a couple trolls pretty much hit us up exclusively, pretty much telling us we haven't really known what we're talking about, and mine and Brendan's reasoning for this whole ordeal. We interviewed Mike Kennedy when the fucking retro VGS was getting off the ground.
Mm-hmm.
When this thing was first started. We interviewed this guy. He pretty much was straight to the point with us. Made us feel like this guy was just straight up about retro gaming.
Yeah. And I think at the time he was.
He was. I don't think all the things that go into coming out with a fucking brand new console were really put to thought at that point. It was still more of a dream than a reality
type thing.
Yeah, and all that, and that's understandable. But we kind of had a heads up on this shit before anybody else read all this shit on the internet.
And, to speak to his character, we kind of defended Mike's character. And we've talked to people he's worked with in person. No one's ever had anything bad to say about the guy. I think the pressure of it got to him. I think he wanted to try to save face, and he did this last stunt, and he didn't weigh the risk versus reward here. Because, like I said, there's no real logical motive to do this. He was just trying to save face here, and that was a bad move.
Shame on you.
Yeah.
The big thing is shame on you for stuffing that shit into a Jaguar shell, essentially. And it's kind of like the audacity of thinking that the public is so fucking stupid they won't realize this.
Or he could have took another hour and done it properly. I could have done it. I'm not an electrical engineer by any means, but I'm handy with the solder gun. I could have done that way better.
Well,
And
it's
no
like
one would
you
have
said
known.
earlier, like, you've put all the gumption and know-how into making a whole entire board for a brand new console, but you couldn't wire a fucking LED power or a power switch up, for that matter.
That's easy shit. I could do that on any console. So I don't know what to say. I'm sad.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. It's our bad. We've been bringing you
So yeah, until
advertisement for a scam, essentially.
the only way he can redeem himself now is if he gets the quote unquote prototype he had at the toy fair and uncovers it and shows it that somehow this was not an SNES
Yeah,
Junior.
that 1% that's in his favor, he needs to make that his reality.
But still, though, like, the fact that they delayed the Kickstarter shows you right there that they didn't have a fucking working prototype on the
Right.
toy fair floor.
Yeah.
Period. If they would, they wouldn't have had a problem jerking the top half of that fucking shell off and showing everybody.
They
the
wouldn't have had that
insides.
thing locked away like Fort Knox.
Exactly. It wouldn't have been
Because
in a plastic
if you
box.
watch the video, it's in a plastic box where you can't get to easily.
Wow.
It's kind of tucked away. It's a fucking mess, and
It really sucks because it could have shown ultimate promise early on. But
yeah, I know a lot
I
of
think
people.
the guy got sidetracked with all the bullshit. You know, like how we talked about initially, like the fact that when it was still Retro VGS before it came out as Coleco Chameleon, we talked about the fact that they needed to worry about having a prototype and shit before worrying about, oh, you got a chance of getting 1 in 5 custom prints of this cartridge or that. You got to worry about the base shit before you start worrying about all that extra stuff you tack onto it. You know, the extra perks you get.
Yeah. So as far as we're concerned, Coleco Chameleon Retro VGS is dead. Well, you won't see any more positive press come out of us for it. I can't back a scammer. So
No.
Even if he comes out with a legit prototype later,
I'm still iffy. I will buy this motherfucker after it's been passed off at a local game store.
Yeah.
Like
for $20 maybe. Like it's just,
thrift store find.
I feel like emailing Nathaniel Weiss of Songbringer an apology. Like, I'm sorry we got you.
Yeah, dude, we are sorry.
Because
we're still gonna get Songbringer.
Yeah, hey, Songbringer looks cool. Why are you talking about Songbringer
amazing.
compared to this stuff?
Well, he was going to
we
port.
interviewed the guy from Songbringer.
What does that have to do with any of this other stuff?
We got him in touch with the Retro VGS people, and they kind of promised him that
he would be a launch
they
title.
were going to do a launch title cartridge version of Songbringer.
No. Songbringer doesn't have anything to do with that. Songbringer looks like a great
it
callback to Zelda-looking 2D adventure.
I'm just sorry that he wasted any time at all with this, because he came up with a few minor things for the launch. And
look, any 2D game that involves you finding random cactuses and having special effects from them in your game sounds like I support solo devs like the guy that makes Songbringer and the guy that did Axiom Verge 100%. They don't need to suffer because of any odd thing that happened with a console that you had hopes and dreams in. And supporting them is not necessarily a bad thing. And at this point, can we really call the internet trolls at all? Because they were right.
They were, but the thing is, the ones we were talking about had no evidence at the time.
Yeah,
so they were trolls.
They were kind of just using...
The only evidence they had was they were playing SNES games, and I was like, well, they had an SNES FPGA cores. So
but they were right, and they do listen to your show. So instead of trolls, maybe they're just correct listeners.
No.
Yeah, you just have to understand, like, our correct listeners didn't give us the hell that... And by the people we're talking about, it's like just a certain couple of people.
Well, hey, if they would have been like, hey, you're wrong, and this is why, and gave us this evidence, I would be like, hey, I'm wrong, you're right 100%, that's cool. But no, they're...
Here's somebody else's formulated opinion. I've taken it, making it as my own, and this is how this is.
Yeah, so, I completely respect opinion backed by fact, but even if an opinion not backed by fact is correct by chance, I don't respect it anymore.
As far as the Songbringer thing goes, talking about that and the relation to Coleco Chameleon, we pretty much like just feel bad for getting his hopes up
Yeah.
that possibly he could, because he told us one of his goals was, it's like, I've been in a band for years and shit. When you're in a band, it's kind of like that goal, like, it'd be sweet as shit to have our stuff released on vinyl. If you're a game programmer for PC, it'd be like, oh, it'd be sweet as shit to have my product released on a cartridge format. And that's kind of what we were like, I hope we didn't get any hope for that, because it probably ain't going to happen now.
Yeah, so...
Play that fucking... Womp, womp,
Womp.
But yeah.
Down the toilet it goes.
I will say, at that time, there was no reason to suspect this, but it's beyond redemption now.
So,
even if, like I said, if tomorrow he has a prototype in hand,
honestly,
he's done the deceptions.
The fucking all signs, shake the magic 8-ball, all signs point to no.
Yeah.
Vote with your dollars. Vote for your fact. Do not vote for the Coleco Command Kickstarter.
Kickstarter.
Like, we're really sorry. It was something good.
It was a good idea.
At the beginning. It was a good idea. Poorly executed. So.
God, it's like you guys just figured out Santa Claus isn't real.
It's
painful to watch you guys like this.
But yeah, the only way this can be redeemed, like I said, is if he reveals that initial prototype and it's somehow not in SNES Junior.
They're not,
and
going
it's not
to.
going to happen.
They're not going to.
Well,
it's DOA, man.
Okay, so is that for game news? Is that all?
That's
we got?
it.
That's
for
it.
the news.
That is it. Christ, we got lengthy this evening.
Yes, we have.
That's fine. So, are you guys going to listen to the TurboGrafx 16 album if it drops?
After
I would rather listen to the sweet sounds of a Schlossberg in my head cavity. In other words, I'd rather fucking kill myself.
Yes.
I think we got that one.
I'm glad. I just wanted to reiterate that. Death before Kanye West. That needs to be the Good Old Gamer hashtag. Death before Kanye West. Trademarked.
But I thought you had the tattoo that said Kanye Best.
Eat fuck, Brandon. I don't
have
have
eaten
any of that shit.
I will eat 3 cups of fuck. You just fucking watch.
Your breath's gonna stink for a month.
It usually does.
I'm not doing a what's in your hands this week.
Nah, we got too much stuff to talk about tonight.
We do.
And I'm not doing a hot and steamy either.
What are we talking about?
We don't have a call in from David, so we're not doing that.
There is no Vault game of the week?
There is none because they didn't call one in.
Well, they do have a lot of games. So.
David, yeah, they do.
They do.
Their Amazon store. Check that out. Mark's got it up and running.
Amazon.com/shops/Vault Games. Let me double check that real quick.
Well, it's cool that you guys support your local game store, and I think, everybody else should support our local game store, not their local game store.
Your mom and pop store is where it's at.
Yeah.
Because that's like
no.
last...
Our mom and pop store is where it's at.
Yeah.
Yeah. So stop supporting your local game stores and please support ours because they help the podcast and that helps us.
Yes. Amazon.com/shops/Vault Games. They put that copy of God Hand on there I've been wanting.
Did they?
Yes, they did.
They helped me out the other day. I went in for a cord to connect my PSP to the computer, and they helped me by telling me that, hey, if you have a PS3, you can do it with your cable that you already have. So that helps. And I also bought an extra battery pack for my 360 controllers because I use them to control my PC controllers. They're my PC controllers.
Yeah.
Vault's good folks, man. Good local folks, and I'm sure they would treat anybody else out there across the nation good too.
Oh, they do. They do. And one thing I noticed looking at their shop, and I was like looking at their items, and not only looking at their items, but the items other people were selling of the same thing, like other games of the same type they were selling.
They're a little bit more reasonable.
Well, not only that, but their descriptions are way better. Like, half the other sellers were like, yeah, this is this game. Maybe it's CIB, maybe it's not. Who knows until you buy it. Vault Games has it pretty well described, light damage or, CIB, disc only, things
What's
like that.
CIB? That's
Complete in box.
Complete in box.
Complete in box.
That's a collector's thing.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm a ROM guy.
I mostly am too.
No, whatever.
Peasants.
I I am surrounded by Nintendo cartridges. The ROM guy is.
Hey,
is
I'm
being
up
humble.
to like 23 consoles now, though. So I'm getting my collector stripes back.
No lie, dude, I'm fucking proud of you.
Yay!
You have warmed my heart with your collectorism.
Yay!
Lyle is
Word I
holding
just
the
made.
golden cartridge at the moment.
I got one of those. It's
I
not
have-
CIB.
Oh, this is CIB.
Oh yes, it
It's
is.
Look
even
at
got
this.
the black strip case. Oh,
It's
it's
got
just
the map.
manualed all over the
It's
table.
got the manual.
I was
I
going to say
never-
that's a
I never
shiny
had that game.
Legend of Zelda.
It's even got the styrofoam spacer in the bottom. But, it's funny about that gold cartridge. MC Lars, I don't know if you guys listen to nerdcore rap like I do, but
I don't listen to
I know
that.
what up with that.
MC Lars has a gold chain with a copy of the gold case Zelda around his
That's
neck.
awesome.
And he was at a concert, and some asshole asked to borrow it and walked away with it. And he tweeted out, he was like, "This dude just walked away with my Zelda. Please get it back. Like, someone out there, please get it back." And no one could get it back. This dude made away with it.
Oh no,
But fans sent him in another gold cartridge.
that's
So-
good. It's
Nice.
like loose. It's like a $20-$30
Yeah.
game, so
You
it's
wanna
not
know
like he's
what's
out of
kind of
shitload.
funny? The gray cartridge Zelda is actually kind of getting to be worth a little more than
Well,
the gold
it's
one.
less common. I've never seen a gray in person.
I have never either.
I've turned off 2 gray ones because I'm just like, your grayness.
Your petty
But one
greatness.
thing a guy on Twitter
Take your
pointed out to
pitiful
me.
ass over there.
One thing a guy on Twitter pointed out to me: the fucking gold on those, on the 2 NES ones, are way better than any other gold Zelda cartridge.
Well, fuck yeah.
Because
The
to this
only,
day, it's
the
fucking,
only other 2 are fucking Majora's
Ocarina.
Mask and Ocarina and
right.
shitty.
I did not.
It's
I
not
did
gold.
know there was a
shitty.
gold
It's not-
version of that.
Right. It's gold colored plastic. It's not like the gold paint colored like the
It's
old
not
ones.
gold plated.
Yeah, gold plated. So the other ones shine a lot more. They look a lot cooler.
Well, that was MCR's Bling Bling, and when I saw
Yeah.
him in Birmingham, I don't know if that guy was rolling X or something, but he was literally the nicest entertainer I've ever got the pleasure of meeting. And I can't wait to see him again, man. I'm glad he got another Zelda, but yeah, it's messed up that somebody would take something for someone like that.
I would kill.
Then again, like
There
if
would
I
be
was in that
death.
position, I don't think I would just let someone borrow it. Like,
see, that's another thing. Like, he's so nice that he did let him borrow it, and when he called his ass out on Twitter and stuff, he wasn't like, "Go beat this dude's ass" or whatever. He was like,
Ask him
tell
nicely.
him, get it back.
with
You know,
baseball bat.
he wasn't like all thug about it and stuff. The dude is just super nice.
That's cool.
Dave
though.
Mustaine isn't that nice.
Dave Mustaine's a
That's
cock
when I saw
hat.
Megadeth in Orlando one time. Some guy booed him right before they played the song Gears of War, and after the song was over, and he's like, "Yeah, I heard this little what was the word he used? Cock smoking pussy from Bangkok booed me before the show," and he said all this like 5-minute long rant about this one guy, and that was like 6 years ago. To this day, that guy is getting his ass kicked in there. No one even knows why anymore. Like, oh, they're kicking his ass. Let's join in. They just start stomping him.
Gotta love mob mentality. That is fun stuff.
Yes, it is.
It is rather ridiculous. Okay, we had to take a piss break.
But enough about Megadeth.
Yes.
Yeah. We're just going to start talking about our main topic tonight.
What's that?
Castlevania and Bloodstained. The Bloodstained element is what you're going to help us on.
Well,
Castlevania.
I was kind of hoping out for the Castlevania. Cause,
Well, that's too. That too.
yeah, I'm a big Castlevania fan. Actually, I'm a big Igavania fan. That's the replacement for Metroidvania.
Which ones of the Castlevanias are the Igavanias?
The ones that Iga made.
I mean, I know that, but which ones did he make?
Okay, well, the first one that he started out on was Symphony of the Night, and then the next one that came out followed that same kind of formulaic Igavania style, and that was Circle of the Moon, but he actually didn't have any involvement with that, and that's kind of odd because I didn't play that one. I don't know why I didn't play that one, but after I played Symphony, I decided to go back and play all of the games like that, and I skipped Circle of the Moon. What I did was I found a double pack Game Boy Advanced edition of Harmony of Dissonance and Area of Sorrow, and he did both of those. Those were re-released as a double pack, so I got that double pack and played it. And I guess I just didn't either know that Circle of the Moon was out there or whatever, but I skipped it, not intentionally. But it's not an EGA game anyway.
Yeah, people don't believe this, but there was a time before Google. Like, sometimes
Right.
information was in the dark.
Yeah. And when I found out about Symphony, it was through a friend. It wasn't from, Google or whatever. Everyone's on the internet saying, hey, this is the best damn game ever, so you should go and play it, which you should, because if you're listening to this, you're on the goddamn internet, and you should go play Symphony of the Night.
If you're listening to this and you're not on the internet, you've made some bad choices in life. I don't know how you arrived
Chemical
here.
dependency will end your life eventually.
Okay, so other games, after Harmony and Area, you had the Area follow-up, which was Dawn of Sorrow, and you had Portrait of Ruin, which was then, I was finally current at that time when Portrait came out. I pre-ordered that one, and then Order of Ecclesia came out. So all of those I consider EGA-vanias. There are a couple of 3D games that I didn't play. I've never played a 3D Castlevania game other than the rebooted series. There's that Lords of Shadow 1. I played that one, but I didn't know that Ego was no longer involved with it when I bought it. And also, I did know that he wasn't involved when I got Mirror of Fate, but I played Mirror of Fate, and although I enjoyed the game, the plot just sucked so much, I never even bothered trying to get with the new game, the Lords of Shadow 2.
So you've never experienced the joy that is Castlevania 64, then?
No, I've never played a 3D Castlevania game.
Good for you.
Here recently, though, actually just last Thursday, I beat the original Castlevania game for the first time, and I didn't use any save states.
Nice.
I didn't stun lock the bosses except for the Medusa, and it was very rewarding because my wife thought I was going to have a heart attack playing that game. In some of those parts, I was extremely frustrated at, and my blood pressure was like at 1,000,000. And
I can identify with that. I
Right.
I recently played through the first Castlevania this week, and fuck the mummies. That was my greatest challenge that entire game is you have to fight dual mummies at one point.
well, I have a question for you then. When you fought the mummies, did you destroy the block and get the meat? No? Okay, well, no, that's good. I didn't either.
I worked them to the left side of the stage
Yeah.
and cleared them and got over and did a combination of ducking and standing up and throwing the whip constantly. I would duck long enough to kill off the bandages they throw at you and then stand up long enough to actually strike the first one.
You
until
can
I just
actually
wore
kill
them
the
down.
bandages that they throw? I mean, that makes sense. I don't know why
I was
would
just
try it, but I
ducking
always
and
just
ducking
avoid 'em.
and whipping, and it was like it would whip them, and I would stand up real quick and just keep whipping.
When I get to that point, one of the natural things a lot of people do is when they enter the mummies, they're like locked in place. Like they don't activate until you get halfway through the room. So a lot of people will get halfway through the room and they'll try to attack the mummy on the left, and by doing so, they'll destroy a block and find a wall meat.
I did not know there was a wall meat down there.
There was a wall meat right there at the boss, but if you don't take it and you actually stand on top of the little block that's there, and instead of destroying the block, if you stand on it, it's actually a pretty damn good spot to stand there and just whip those mummies. Unless they walk back all the way to the left, they're not going to hit you.
I wish I would have known that.
Whip it good.
Because it took me a few tries
Into
to
shape.
figure out, well, let's lure them over here and just try to get on the other side and beat the fuck out of them.
Yeah. I didn't really have any problems with the mummies, but that Frankenstein, like I said on one of your
The little
game
imp
requests.
fucking thing, he throws off his head that shoots a fireball at you constantly is a pain in the dick.
I think people used to think those were the monkeys.
Yeah.
People would call those the monkeys, but they're the Fleamen. As if you go from the newer games back, they're named the Fleamen. Yeah, those Fleamens are bastards, and he is really the boss of that level. Because he jumps around super erratically and shoots that fireball at you. And the only way that you can damage the enemy meter at the top of the screen is by attacking Frankenstein, his monster. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
he's a bastard.
Frankenstein just does the typical Frankenstein bullshit. He's just like, whoa, and walks across the fucking level.
Yeah, I made it there with the holy water, and with the holy water in that game, if you can get to a boss, you can kind of stun lock him if you spam that, and just whip the shit out of the boss without any problems. But I didn't have that luxury. I got to throw like 2 holy waters, and that flea man was everywhere. And he was kicking my butt.
Dude, the holy water is the bane of my existence on the first Castlevania.
It's great.
I don't know how to use it properly. My favorite thing's the cross.
The cross
if I
is
can
good,
get the cross, I can work my way across
My favorite
level.
thing, the one I played the most was Super Castlevania 4, and I'm going to have to toot my own horn. Like, I haven't played Castlevania since first grade.
Dude, I have maybe my Castlevania. Is that the first time you played it?
Yeah, that's like the only time.
That's one of my sentimental memories. I got a Super Nintendo for Christmas in first grade, and I didn't own Super Castlevania 4, but we went and rented the game, and I rented Super Castlevania 4 and brought it with me to school for show and tell.
We play that shit all
yeah.
day. We pause up through the whole fucking lunch and come in like, oh yeah, we got to beat this. Of course, we're kids. We got like to level 2 maybe. Like
Super Castlevania, I gotta say, is probably the best Castlevania game, unless someone considers Symphony of the Night to be the best Castlevania game. And that's kind of like a deciding factor between people is, do you think Symphony was better than Castlevania 4? And it all just comes down to if you want the exploration type game versus the straightforward linear level.
yeah, and I far
challenge.
enjoyed the Super Castlevania 4 over Symphony. Not that Symphony was bad, but I just enjoyed the 4 more.
It is a great game.
I got to toot my own horn though, because I haven't played it since first grade, and I sat down and beat it in one sitting. I used the save state one time.
Dude, I kind of want to bow to you.
Right, because those bosses at the end, when they boss rush you,
yes.
you got to go through like a boss rush at the end, and they do not hold back.
After my first 2 game overs, I didn't die until the last few bosses.
Super Castlevania.
So I had a lot of lives.
What? Okay, out of all the bosses in Super Castlevania 4, which one would you have found that gave you the most?
The ballroom
difficulty.
bosses. The couple that dance, the ghost couple that dance in the ballroom.
I hate the fucking Rock Man, dude.
I beat him. No
He's
problem.
not that big of a deal, but if you just stand there and if you just try your method of just stand there and chastise his ass with your whip, you'll die.
My strategy for most of the bosses in the game, I would never use my sub weapons throughout the level. And then I got to the boss with like 99 hearts, and then I have a dagger. I just spammed the fuck out of the dagger, and they would die before they could do much to me.
God, the music in Super Castlevania 4, man.
It is beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
you got to
so
give
good.
it to Konami, man. They had the music game down when it came to the old games.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Only Capcom can rival Konami when it comes to music.
But I was going to say, I hated Holy Water throughout the whole game, and I avoided it. But I accidentally got it before Frankenstein's monster, and I was so glad I had it for him, because it made him so fucking easy. I just threw Holy Water, and he just sat there in Holy Water until he died, basically.
Yeah, they just kind of stand there when they get hit by it.
Yeah.
That was... in the first Castlevania on NES, I really like the Holy Water, because not only can it stun lock those bosses, but those skeletons that throw bones, they react to which direction you're running. So if you throw a holy water down on the ground and back up, they'll run towards it and they'll get in the fire. So that's a good way to kill those guys.
Oh, nice.
That's sweet.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of the holy water, which is ironic because the holy water catches on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that makes a lot of sense, huh?
Not so holy, are we?
But my overall favorite was the dagger. It's because it was so efficient with your hearts. And you can spam the fuck out of it.
One heart, one dagger.
Dude,
and you could spam it.
I use the clock a lot in the old Castlevania games where you just stop time.
I liked it.
It's a cheap.
On the Symphony of the Night, that's the only way I beat the mirror Alucard.
Oh, really?
I just popped the clock and just whooped his ass.
You know what?
I wish we had some of the voice acting clips.
Oh, yeah.
From Symphony of the Night. Oh, my God.
Symphony of the Night was funny because, Iga was the director of that, and he said that he didn't know that it was so cheesy here in America. He thought that the voice acting was actually, he was told that it was good. So all of that dialogue was like badass in Japanese.
Well, yeah, I couldn't tell you if Japanese dialogue was good or not. It sounds all the same to me.
Simply the part at the beginning where Richter Belmont first meets Dracula. He's like, "What is a man? A miserable pile of secrets. Have at thee."
Yeah, that is the pinnacle. Fuck. What is a man of Symphony and the meme that it is. I don't know about all that. I think that if I saw you had the PSP version of the
Dracula X, which is also known for our fans as Rondo of Blood on PC Engine.
Yeah, and
TurboGrafx 16, not Kanye West affiliated.
Not a sponsor of the show. That
Not at all.
Not yet.
Not yet.
He will be. He's
getting-
53 mil in debt. Like,
Yeah, he's
he
getting
might
pretty
be our
hard up.
sponsor.
He's getting pretty hard up. But
He'd be like, I'll suck you boys' dicks for advertisement time. We'll just be like, just kill yourself.
well, I don't know if it's that version. You can unlock Symphony in that. I don't know if it's that version or the Xbox version, but they redo the dialogue between Richter and and Dracula in that.
We're just going to pass the PSP around if anybody
Yeah.
wants to get down.
Well, I can't concentrate on a game and talk to you guys at the same
That's
time.
why I just set it down.
But I do like that, you got the animation at the beginning playing where they sacrifice some chick to Dracula. That's crazy.
That's usually how it always starts in these games.
Chick
I noticed,
has
though,
not-
in Symphony of the Night, Dracula straight up tells you he doesn't want to be resurrected. He's like, it's not my fault that mankind's
he's like,
fucking
Yeah, they wanted to
stupid.
pay tribute
Yeah,
to
it's
me or
wrong.
some shit like
Yeah.
that.
That kind of apathy, I think, it kind of speaks to the fact that Dracula's like, what do you guys keep using me for the main character? He's kind of tired. And one of the things Bloodstained does is gets out of it gets out from under what Dracula is to everyone, because it can be very different from person to person. I mean, I loved Monster Squad. I don't know if you guys saw that movie back then.
Amen, dude.
Yeah, Monster Squad.
Oh, so great.
But Bela Lugosi, there's so many people that have an idea in mind when they play against Dracula in a video game, and you can only do so much
Personality
with it.
can turn Dracula into whatever it needs to be.
Yeah. And for the original Castlevania, it was very campy. You had all the classic movie monsters, and you had Dracula. It was
Bela
he was
Lugosi. Oh, I'm Dracula.
right. He's like the boss of all the monsters, so of course he's the last guy. But I don't think they intended to build a franchise on it. It just happened to be amazing and awesome because it was like the first real good horror game that we had.
Right.
Yeah. So it kind of started, all the Ghouls and Ghosts and everything. It was the first real horror game on retro gaming. I mean, I'm sure there were a couple of other. I think there's an isometric game that was like a horror game, but Castlevania was the first one that the design was really cool, and there was a lot of things going through that first game that I just beat this week. I wouldn't have been able to really appreciate the design that went into that game if it wasn't for a fella named Dan Felder on YouTube that it went through, and he talked about why the level designs were so good for that. And it was that Castlevania was more of a puzzle action game. It wasn't about just running forward and slashing things with your whip, because you couldn't control your jumps in midair. You couldn't readjust if you made a bad jump.
You get hit by an enemy, you fly back 2 feet.
And fall in the water and die instantly.
Yeah.
Fuck a bunch of bats and Medusa heads.
I want to say
in
that
the fucking
that's probably
Castlevania universe.
the number one factor why I enjoyed Super Castlevania 4 over Symphony of the Night is the whip. I love the whip so much.
The whip is awesome, but
The fact
thing
that you
about
can
that
just
whip-
dangle the whip.
Yes,
and just kind of like
floppy
toss-
dong the whip, like that worked for so much shit. I loved it.
It did, but the thing about that whip, I have to agree, man. Castlevania 4, you've got the jump control and you've got an amazing whip, but the whip just destroys all of the value of every sub-weapon in there, really. Like you said that you're using the holy water, but I don't see what you
The
can do with the
whip's just
holy
as
water.
strong.
Yeah, because you can use the whip in just about every case. Now the daggers, of course, they can go all the way across the screen.
Yeah, that's what I use most is the daggers, because
Yeah.
I would sit on the other side and just spam the fuck out of that.
One Castlevania game we skipped that we could talk about. I don't know if y'all have any experience in it.
I don't.
But,
I've talked about the games I've experienced.
This is one of my first fuck my Nintendo and fuck playing video game moment. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest for NES.
Well, I do have a little bit now that I think about it.
Fuck my life, that game.
Well, they expect a lot of children when they make these games, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
That game is to the brim with like Nintendo logic, like NES logic. For example, you play the fucking flute on top of a mountain behind the city. And that's supposed to take you to the level that you didn't even know existed. You're just like, how in the fuck outside of Nintendo Power would anybody realize that shit?
They really wouldn't know. Unless I had Nintendo Power, I never would have realized that you have to have some certain crystal selected, not just in your inventory, but selected, and kneel down at this cliff until a
that's
tornado.
what I was getting at.
Yeah,
yes.
until a tornado comes and picks you up to take you to the rest of the game.
What the fuck, dude?
Yeah, I was just wandering
Very
around in that
cryptic.
game.
That wasn't only a Nintendo thing. If you played point and click games on the PC from that era, same fucking thing.
Oh yeah, but you don't need to apply that to a fucking Nintendo. Castlevania, the first one, is very linear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They tried to add so many of the RPG elements. Like, Castlevania 2 has a night and day system.
Yeah.
Which, what is it? It's what a terrible night to have a curse.
Yeah, and you can't skip it. It just happens, and then
One
all
of my
the
favorite
enemies
metal
goes.
bands took that as a name for one of their songs, which is amazing.
Which metal band is this?
Black Dahlia Murder.
Okay. I've heard of them. I'm sorry. I like metal, but...
Well...
Anyways, yeah, Castlevania 2, as a kid, walking around and being like, okay, I can find these dungeons, and I can find the things that are, like, apparently the main item in these dungeons, but knowing what to do with them is just like, I don't know. And the translation stuff certainly didn't help, and to add on to that, I think that, like, some of the villagers were supposed to be liars and stuff. They're supposed to mislead you. So you had everything working against you to make this a actually completable game. The only way that I ever completed that as a kid, because that was the first Castlevania I ever had. This is the only Castlevania I ever had as a kid. The only way I completed that was getting a code from someone else and putting it in, and then it gets you through most of the game, and you can go fight Dracula at the end, or maybe Death, because that's what it looked like. It didn't look like Dracula. And if you throw holy water on him, just like the original Castlevanias, you stun lock him and kill him. But
cheap.
As much crap as Simon's Quest gets, I think that Symphony was kind of really a successor to it, because in Symphony you're playing around in this big ass castle. You don't know where to go. There's
Open-ended exploration.
Yeah, there's nothing that tells you need to go here or there, do anything.
That's one thing I hit the jackpot on shit luck in my first play of Symphony. The first time I tried playing it, I played like an hour and a half of it. I never happened to cross a save room.
Never.
Never.
Wow.
And then I
sucks.
died and it started over. I'm like, well, fuck that.
That's why you fucking busted your fucking PlayStation in half.
Well, I was emulating, so. I will
Dude.
not do that to my firstborn
I'm
child.
trying to keep integrity here.
Will not do that to my firstborn child on my PC.
Well, just a tip for going through Symphony is at least go through the screen if you can, and then even if it's not the way you want to go.
I figured that out pretty quick. After an hour and a half, I figured that out. Because I died, I was like, how the fuck do you even save in this game? I looked it up, I'm like, oh, there's rooms where you save. I'm like, oh, I never saw any.
Yeah. Honestly, when I did Symphony for the first time, it was out for years and years out before I even knew about it, and I had a map that kind of guided me to every save room. That's the only cheat that I really had, but the first time that I did Symphony, I at least knew where the save rooms were. But just, it's to take it back to kind of Castlevania 2, there's kind of a grinding element to Castlevania 2. That's where you have to grind a lot of hearts to buy the things that you need to progress in the game. And they do that with Symphony 2. You need to progress... that's my phone. I'm sorry, guys.
That's cool.
Oh, it's okay.
In Castlevania 2, you do a lot of grinding to buy the things that you need to buy, but in Symphony of the Night, there's bosses if you can't pass. You just need to grind through a few more enemies, and then, suddenly you can beat them and you level up, and there's RPG elements to it. Yeah. So I think the Zelda 2 deviated a lot from Zelda 1 as more of a open world.
A lot
type
of
thing.
it too, like when Castlevania 2 came out, that was in that era of oddball Nintendo sequels.
Yeah,
like Mario 2, Zelda 2, all that shit was popular then.
Right?
Like,
yeah, I think the only ones that
people didn't really hone in on how to make a sequel.
Well, yeah, but back
Except
then,
Mega
video
Man.
game genres are still really being explored a lot. Like,
What?
there were no staples really back then. There was no formula to follow.
Well, a proven fact is like Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse came out for NES, way better.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which I mean that's to the eye of the beholder, I guess. But
No, well, better than 2. I think you're pretty safe.
oh
by
yeah,
saying
yeah.
that.
Like it not better, I don't guess, in the long run than like the first one, but it tied more directly to the first one than Simon's Quest did.
Yeah. Oh, it's definitely less
taxing.
Ridiculously.
They do have
confusing.
a fan hack out of Simon's Quest though that
Well,
fixes all the problems. Supposedly.
Now that I've beat the first one, I want to go and beat the second one. It'd be a good tribute back to my childhood and the nostalgia there of playing 2 again. But I think maybe I want to try that hack out instead of just doing 2. Because, I don't know.
The hack just fixes all the bullshit, that makes the game convoluted.
Well, that's kind of how, I'm a big Earthbound fan.
No, you're not.
I'm not really. I'm just making shit up.
What the fuck game is that?
Yeah, but the Mother Zero, the hack you're on, where they smoothed out the experience curve, so you don't have to grind rats in the basement for 3 hours.
Yeah.
You talking about like the Wii U one?
No,
Earthbound Beginnings.
You got to grind the rats in the Wii U one. It stays true. It's just
so Mother Zero is actually a better.
Or Earthbound Zero is. You could say it's a better gameplay, but the translation on it's so shitty that. Go to the Wii U one if you want the official translation. But they smooth out the experience curve on that game, so you don't have to grind rats in the basement for 3 hours to not die instantly when you go outside your house.
I didn't finish that game, but I noticed that, it is set up to be a grind game. You make progress, you get to like a boss or something, you die, and then you just go through and you fight the same little enemies in between here and there, and you level up. So it's just like your first big, we have to grind to get good at this game. You are expected to not be able to go through without dying ever.
Right.
And that was just part of it. I'm glad you're such a big Earthbound fan, because Earthbound actually is kind of related to Bloodstained in a sort of backwards kind of way.
Really?
Yeah. The guys that handle the Kickstarter, that company is called Fangamer, and the biggest game that they're a fan of is Earthbound. They actually started the forums Starman.net.
Starman, yeah.
Yeah, they run that. So they're like they run conventions for Earthbound in Arizona. And
what was the name of it? I remember saying it. It doesn't have Earthbound in the name at all. Like if you heard the name, you wouldn't think it's Earthbound.
Mother, maybe? No.
No, even though that's true. There's some other name. It's Camp something, I think. It's weird.
Well, these guys, huge Earthbound fans, and they made those forums. I mean, they are really the actually Steve, the guy that is kind of he handles a lot of the PR for Bloodstained. Steve's actually one of the voices in one of the translations, I think, for Mother 3 or something. So I know he's contributed some voice work for it. But Fangamer's very involved in the Mother series, and they're very involved with Bloodstained too. So
that's sweet.
It's like, the how many degrees to Kevin Bacon or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Earthbound and Bloodstained do have a little common blood. It's weird. Small world, I guess.
Yeah,
it is.
There's only that many cult classics, I guess.
Yeah, and I would consider Symphony at least a cult classic, because I don't think the sales of those games were really big, but after they came out and people talk about them, they definitely have a good following, and the Kickstarter for Bloodstained kind of proves that.
Yeah.
People really
definitely
do want to see a 2D game that has the 2D gameplay. We don't all need this God of War type,
right?
Playthrough of a game to make it good. You can have a good old school play system with updated graphics and stuff. And actually, that genre didn't see its full potential, and we need to continue.
Yeah. I think there for a while, like people or developers were going away from the 2D games because like they saw 2D as a limitation of the old systems rather than a legitimate genre of games. Yeah. So it's finally being recognized as like, hey, these games are fucking awesome. So I'm really glad that it's finally getting recognized as a great way to play these old games.
Yeah, and 3D does have its merits. I mean, we do need 3D. Sprite work costs a lot of money to get every little sprite for every
especially
segment of
HD.
Animation. Yeah, because like Symphony of the Night, it was all 2D sprite animation. Everything that Alucard did, every tracer that he left when he walked in, all that stuff, all that crap was hand done.
I do want to say that the tracers he left was a turn off to me because I was having seizures while I was jumping and stuff.
Really?
You forgot to take your medication.
Yes.
I've heard that it made the character feel more immortal and like something other than human because he did it. Vampires are supposed to like move differently than humans and stuff. So it left that extra.
And Sparkle from the best vampire movie I know of.
The best vampire movie ever, Twilight.
There's nothing I can fucking say to that. Ass hat.
I know what you are. Just say it.
Well, did either one of you ever play Castlevania Bloodlines? The
You know-
only Sega Genesis fucking Castlevania to exist?
No.
I've played a couple of stages out of it, but that is the first game that Michiru Yamane did the soundtrack for. And that soundtrack I've listened to all the way through many, many times because it's pretty good. Now, I love Castlevania 4's soundtrack too. And Castlevania Bloodlines came out on Genesis about the same time Castlevania 4.
That was their equivalent of Super Castlevania 4 for Genesis.
It was the first Castlevania game to come out on Genesis. Actually, I think it might be the only one.
It is the only.
Yeah, so it exposed a lot of people to Castlevania that had never seen it before because they didn't have Nintendos. Back when
They did what Nintendo don't. I mean,
yeah, blast processing to the max.
Multi-layered blast processing.
But that was Michiru Yamane's first Castlevania soundtrack that she did, and it's her favorite as well. But she would go on to make all of the Castlevania soundtracks from then on. And
nice.
And she is fortunately involved in Bloodstained. She and Ippo Yamada and Vert, also known as Jake Kaufman, that did Shovel Knight and some other games, they are all contributing to the soundtrack for Bloodstained.
That's great.
So you get
Why
that kind
don't
of
you
character.
just go ahead and tell us a shit ton about Bloodstained?
What
Preach
is
to us.
Bloodstained? What
preach
is this-
to us, brother.
What is
Preach
this
it,
game
brother.
that you keep mentioning, Mr. Mike? Okay,
Preach it, sir.
so Symphony of the Night, which is, in many people's opinion, at least a when Castlevania hadn't seen a release that was majorly successful since Genesis and Nintendo. On the PlayStation, Castlevania hit, and it was like hugely successful. It really breathed new life into this.
Symphony of the Night, you should go ahead and point out, is the first time at the point in the series where they started referring to it as Metroidvania.
Well,
Initially.
It does. It did definitely get the Metroidvania tag. Iga himself doesn't like the word Metroidvania because it calls upon other IPs that he didn't intend to be like. What they
Egamania.
Egamania. Egamania.
Listen,
Mania.
brother.
Well,
What you gonna do when Nigga Mania runs wild on you?
can you smell what the Iga's cooking? He actually was trying to emulate more like a. He drew inspiration from the Legend of Zelda series. So when Bloodstained came about and people were saying this is like the grandfather of the Metroidvania series, he was like, well, let's not use Metroidvania. We'll call this Igavania. If it was a game I was involved with, we were more inspired by Zelda than Metroid. Not to have anything bad about Metroid, because he likes Metroid too, but it was the kind of the playthroughs of the Legend of Zelda games that inspired the non-linearness and open worldness of the Castlevania Symphony of the Night. So yeah, it was definitely something new to the series, and no one had really seen anything like it aside from maybe Super Metroid. So it definitely easily picked up that trope that it was combining Castlevania with Metroid.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, Symphony of the Night was on PlayStation, so that's right when you were seeing stuff like, I don't know, Banjo-Kazooie, maybe not Banjo-Kazooie.
No, Crash Bandicoot.
Crash Bandicoot. That's the one
Bandicoot.
I was thinking of. Crash Bandicoot and all of these things that were 3D, and everything needed to be 3D then.
Yeah, because it was new. They was exploring the 3D format.
And they were, and we had to have that to push forward to the things that we have now that are great. We had to have those intermediate first 3D things. But
Bubsy 3D.
But they took a chance on a 2D game, and sure, it had some 3D aspects, like the coffin when you do save states, it will do.
Yeah.
Or not save states, but when you
Had
save your game,
had the D20 that spun around.
the D20 will spin, and then your game is saved, as long as you don't roll a 1, and then you fumble, and then your character dies, and they erase your
Fall
save
on
file.
your own knife 20
Never
times.
mind this gelatinous cube before you.
Yeah, you failed your spot check. Now you're dead. But yeah, they wanted to put a 2D game like that onto the PlayStation, and I think they did a great job with it. The soundtrack, you finally have a CD that you could actually grab that PlayStation CD and throw it into your CD player, and it would play the soundtrack. And it had a hidden track on there that was Robbie Belgrade's voice that does Alucard, and he would actually talk to you outside the game. It was pretty cool. He's actually returning to do a voice on Bloodstained too. So the voice of Alucard from Symphony of the Night, he's making a return on this game. But Bloodstained is basically, and I know you guys use this word a lot, it's the spiritual successor of Symphony of the Night. So everybody was kind of, well, I wouldn't say everybody, plenty of people loved the way the Castlevania reboot went. A lot of people liked the Lords of Shadows series. Yeah. And honestly, I liked the first one okay. I just didn't know that it didn't mean...
riff-off.
I wasn't going to get, any of the 2D stuff on 3DS anymore. I mean, they gave me a 2.5D game after that, which was really good. But the story just kind of butchered, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I don't speak for anybody else but me. But, the way that they handled the Belmont family and Alucard's creation and all that kind of stuff, it just didn't sit well with me. It didn't feel like... It just felt like they were trying to bring up the greatness of the old games, but they were doing it in a way that just wasn't resonating with me. And I really missed Iga's work on that. So seeing when the Kickstarter went live, that the Iga who had worked on 10 years of previous, Castlevania games, he was going to get another chance to make something that the fans had wanted. One of the things that kind of left a bad taste in people's mouth was the 1999 Demon War with Julius Belmont was supposed to kind of finalize Dracula and that whole storyline and tie it all up. And
he's supposed to be permanently vanquished.
Permanently vanquished. And the Castlevanias that Iga did that were, the Metroidvania types after that, they were in the future, even farther than the future than we are now today. And it just kind of separated as a different storyline. And that storyline basically just got abandoned, and it left people wanting, Iga's to kind of finish it out, and that obviously wouldn't happen because he left Konami. People were telling Iga that they want a game, and to do that, he went to Kickstarter, got funding, and now we're going to get the game. It's not going to be a Castlevania game, but anyone who enjoyed Symphony of the Night is going to enjoy this game.
Sounds awesome, especially from the few screenshots I've seen and stuff. It looks really good. I like the kind of combination of 2D and 3D there. It was just seems to be a more common thing, like from the Mighty Number 9's doing a lot of the same.
Yeah, Mighty is actually done by one of the companies that's involved with Bloodstained. Inti Creates is doing a lot of the programming for Mighty. Concept is the company that the creator of, well, not really the creator, but the guy who's basically over the Mega Man series. He branched off out of Capcom and did his own thing. He wanted to do a spiritual successor for Mighty Number 9, and Inti Creates is doing the programming for a lot of that. And Inti Creates is also doing the program for Bloodstained.
Okay.
So Inti Creates had done several Mega Man games, I think in the Zero series, for post Capcom. So they have experience with real Mega Man games, and it makes sense that they do that. And when they step in and do Bloodstained, I think that they're going to have a lot more experience than they had with this current Mighty Number 9. I think that none of the people who are currently working on Mighty Number 9 is working on Bloodstained. But yeah, Mighty Number 9 is a 2D game that's really done in 3D, so that 2.5D aspect is definitely there. But a lot of people don't like the way that a lot of people in the Bloodstained community don't like the way that Mighty Number 9 looks in the screenshots that we have right now. The game is unreleased, so it's being judged before it's even being played. But people tend to compare the two a lot, and I think they're going to be vastly different games. The gameplay aspects are being handled a lot by Concept, where in our case, with Bloodstained, everything's being handled from a design aspect from Artplay, which is Iga and a team of a handful of other people. So we're definitely going to see a big difference between those two games, I think.
That's cool. I know one thing with the 3D is I think you mentioned earlier, it's just a lot fucking cheaper to model things in 3D, and then you can just animate them through skeleton processes. That's something. One of my own games I've been working on before is even though they're gonna be purely 2D, instead of going sprite based, doing a skeletal animation, it comes off kind of flashy. Like Flash based almost, but it's a lot cheaper just to be able to move around bones to animate something rather than making whole new sprites.
Yeah.
For each fucking movement.
Yes.
Yeah, if you want 60 frames a second, that's 60 frames you have to do in,
That's insane.
Photoshop.
Especially if you do it in HD, like most people expect from a big title these days.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of damn work. So.
Yeah, it just makes sense to do things in 3Ds nowadays. And honestly, like, just personally, my preference is I want a 2D gameplay because that's what Castlevania is to me. And the precision that you can get with your weapons and where your character's at and the hits on the enemies, all of that stuff just feels really tight in 3D, and that's the gameplay I'm looking for.
To the pixel.
Right, down to the exact pixel. That, I think, can be emulated in 3D just fine. There's no reason it can't. You just look at it from a side view.
Yeah, orthoscopic or whatever view?
Orthographic view.
That's it. Yeah. It's been a while since I've worked in my games.
Yeah, I'm a fan of parallax scrolling, so that's when you've got...
That's what we talked about the other day, that Jim
Power. Fuck Jim Power.
It will make you cross-eyed with its parallax, but I love it.
You can overdo it, but I think Castlevania has always used it to its fullest extent. There's one... you just played through 4. Super Castlevania 4 had this room where you're walking through like this tunnel.
Talking about the tunnel
room?
Yeah.
That
spins
was amazing.
constantly.
Yeah, that's all that Mode 7 parallax stuff.
Yeah.
That looks cool. And then, but it's hard to do things in 3D without that parallax scroll, because if you truly look at something like... I remember the first big game to me that was parallax was Super Mario World, because it was a pack-in with the SNES.
Yeah.
And when I saw it in there, I was just like, oh my god, this feels so amazing. It's 3D.
Yeah.
But, you can still kind of fake it in 3D games nowadays, because if your character moves on the screen, you don't really want it to look like the real world would look. If you're in your car and you're driving and you're looking on the horizon, you're not going to see mountains move. It's barely going to move at all. You want to see a little bit of movement, so you still have to fake it out there.
Yeah.
So I think parallax is still used even in a 2.5D type kind of game. And I'll be interested in seeing how the backgrounds work in Bloodstained.
Well, it makes the levels you're going through seem bigger than they are. Because, you're just moving through.
It adds depth
to
the room that you're playing in.
It does.
Pretty much.
Yeah, it makes it like, even if they have a window, then there's something outside of this. I'm in some world.
That's one of the things I noticed early in Super Castlevania 4. I think it was 4. One of the windows...
you play?
No, I played Symphony of the Night.
Well, other than that.
One of the windows I looked out, there's like a flying eyeball looking in the window, like early on.
Yeah.
That kind of thing.
That one's Symphony. Yeah, that's
the Symphony.
Oh, yeah, that first room, and I really love that first room because
it was okay. I remember that.
The guys that worked on Symphony, there's this Devs Play video that Double Fine did right before the announcement for Bloodstained, and you can find that on YouTube. Double Fine Devs Play Symphony of the Night. It's easy to find. But in that, Iga was talking about how the team that was working on that, they were a small team, only about 4 or 5 people, like maybe 2 programmers and 2 artists were working on that game in the beginning, and they said that they had a real love for the previous legacy of Castlevania, and they wanted to keep to it. And you can tell in their level design, that first whole room that Alucard runs through, and he's slashing these giant wolves, and there's those eyes and stuff, the zombies and all that. Those are the same like zombies and windows and kind of room design that you'll see in the original Castlevania.
Yeah.
And you'll find mermen right after that are jumping up and like spitting water at you.
I have to ask, was that eyeball ever like a boss or something later?
Was what a boss?
That the floating eyeball in the window. So I felt that was some kind of foreshadowing, maybe.
No, I don't think so. No,
okay.
It wasn't a boss. But
I actually believe though in Castlevania Bloodlines there's a floating eyeball boss.
There may be. I only played through a couple of levels of that. It was a really good game, though. It was super, like... You know how Genesis was more edgy than Nintendo?
Oh, yeah.
Genesis is like the fucking B movie
of games.
And I love
like,
B movies, so Castlevania has a B movie feel to it anyway.
I've always been a Nintendo and Genesis kid, but like to me, it always seemed like a game that would have an SNES and a Genesis port. SNES ports were always better. Genesis ports, like music's not as good. Graphics usually, like Mortal Kombat 2, perfect fucking example of why SNES Mortal Kombat 2 is better than Genesis.
Huh. Well, when I played, I don't know about 2. I played
the Genesis is the B movie version of Mortal Kombat 2. Like
I didn't,
which I mean, I like B movies, but
I played Mortal Kombat 1 on both SNES and Genesis, and I loved it on the Genesis.
Genesis is better because it's got the blood.
Yeah, it's got the blood.
Yeah.
On SNES, it's like spit or sweat that you're knocking off of people.
Disney version.
It depends on timing a lot too, because back then they were both like vying for the latest version of these fighters. And
yeah,
I know
We got revision 2.1.
Yeah,
We got revision
which
2.5.
was when Capcom became really comfortable with releasing 80 versions of the same game. Championship Edition, Turbo Edition,
yeah.
Championship Edition, Alpha Turbo Beta.
I didn't get into
Sequitra
Street Fighter
3
until like Alpha 2 or something. But yeah, I didn't even understand why Street Fighter 2 wasn't Street Fighter 1. Because to me, it was brand new.
Fighting Street.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, that good old gameplay though, man. That Castlevania 1, man. I beat it Thursday, but I didn't start on Thursday. I've been trying to beat that game for a long time because it's hard to be involved with Bloodstained, which is Castlevania. You know, it's got some of the same DNA, and before Bloodstained, of course, I was a fan, but I was a fan of mostly the Iga games. I discovered, I had Castlevania 2 as a kid, but you know how that went.
Yeah.
It was a much better game as a kid when we didn't have expectations of what games could be. So I liked it then, but basically I beat it with a code and it was what it was. I liked Castlevania because I spent hours playing it and I owned the game. Plus the box looked awesome. And then, and the music was good. I still listen to music. But it wasn't until later where, these games really came into fruition that someone told me Castlevania Symphony of the Night was so good and that I missed out that I had to go back and play all these games. So I got into the late in on the game to play those games. I
got a question for you since you're way more knowledgeable on this than me. My old lady is a big fan of anything vampire related. She's kind of a video game lot player though. She only kind of plays video games.
Does she like Cullens?
So like what?
Does she like sparkling vampires in the woods?
Well, she doesn't listen to this podcast, so I can say this. She did like that series until it became uncool. So
my wife still loves that series.
When did it ever get cool?
Well, it never. There was a time where it was universally shunned. Now that it is,
yeah, I don't remember that.
But if I were to try to turn her on to the series, what game would you recommend to someone who isn't good at video games but likes the whole vampire mythology thing?
I would say definitely
Kid
Symphony of the
Dracula.
Night.
Symphony.
Yeah, because Castlevania 4 is a great game, and I would recommend that to anyone. But if you don't have the determination and patience to kind of pull it off, you've got aspects in Symphony which are a little bit more attractive. You've got a main character that's not just this beefy, hunky guy that's going around.
Them Daisy Dukes.
You've got this Bishi.
This guy's fresh out of an emo band.
Yeah.
What?
Well, Alucard is masculine. I mean, his voice actor, Robbie, does a good job of displaying that this guy is masculine. And he's a badass. I mean, straight from the beginning, he's got all this badass equipment. You hit everything and it dies in one hit. But he looks really cool, too. So something that I think a female would like to play as.
Okay. I might see if I can turn
He's
her
a
on.
true old badass for the fact that he realizes, when the whole conflict where he's talking to Dracula about what his mother said last, he's like, I'm half vampire. You're an asshole. My mom was a human. She said not kill humans. You're a cocksucker, so I'm not going to do that. That's what she said. He's very affirmative in the fact that he's not an asshole. Which, women like that. Don't be a douchebag. You can actually get a woman.
Well, I think that Alucard was heavily based on Vampire Hunter D. I don't know if you guys are familiar with D.
I'm vaguely.
Yes, somewhat.
I'm a huge Vampire Hunter D fan, and these novels came out in Japan. Their author, he had been inspired by Christopher Lee to make vampires more than just bad guys. He wanted to make
people, actual, like,
yeah, he made a half
living presence.
Vampire. Yeah, he made a half vampire named D, and he's the son of Dracula, as far as I know. And I mean, I haven't read that far in the series to where it's been confirmed, but it's kind of hinted that D is the son of Dracula or the great ancestor. I don't know anything. No spoilers because I don't really know anything, honestly. But his character design for D was made by Yoshitaka Amano, and you may know Amano from doing a lot of Final Fantasy work. He's done a lot of the artwork for the old Final Fantasy games, really probably every Final Fantasy game. And he illustrated all of the Vampire Hunter D stuff, and I think that it's definitely been confirmed that Iga is a fan of Amano, and I think it's been confirmed he's a fan of Vampire Hunter D. So I think that Alucard's character came from D, and D is, if you read the novels, he is like, he turns even guys on that aren't gay. I mean, he's so beautiful that if you see this guy, you're like, damn, that dude is just like, he's the perfect specimen of beauty.
He is a perfect specimen of masculinity.
Very parallel to Lucifer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The fallen angel, the most beautiful angel is what Lucifer was supposed to be.
Yep.
Yeah, and so you're this half vampire son of Dracula that's supposed to be beautiful. I think that has a lot to do with Alucard's character, and I think that's something that could resonate with a female audience too.
The only
it's the fact you're the offspring of the most evil deity known to man, but people are just like, fuck, you sexy as hell. Like,
damn, you sexy.
Yeah, word up.
Yeah, on the note of like anime,
sexy
and
evil
the only
plays
one,
on the same
the only
plane.
vampire anime I've ever liked was Hellsing. My wife liked Trinity Blood. I didn't care for that one, but Hellsing I liked a lot.
I've only watched like maybe the first episode of Hellsing, and it's got an Alucard character in it.
Yeah,
and Trinity Blood, I saw somebody that had one of those full on the rear window of their truck. They had the entire thing taken up with one of those.
Trinity Blood was like, it was very Dragon Ball Z-ish in that, like, it's very formulaic, I guess you could say. I swear every episode spent 10 minutes with, like, whatever bad guys were just in astonishment at, like, the main character being a vampire that kills vampires, you know? And, I don't know, every threat was just, like, massively more threatening than the last one, but some like last minute power up managed to bring the hero overcome it. You know, it's just very Dragon Ball Z-ish, and I didn't like that one. But Hellsing, I liked Hellsing a lot.
Yeah, good storytelling. It involves building up. You need a win and a defeat, and build up to a climax. I think that Symphony is really good for that because you start out the game, you're fighting Dracula like right off the bat. I mean, that's the first thing you do in that game is fight Dracula.
Yeah.
And that's pretty intense right there off the bat. So
yeah, I would have lost Dracula if that was not a cinematic play, like an interactive cinematic, because he whooped my ass.
Well, Maria comes in and saves you if you need it, but there's actually a bonus if you don't need that, if you actually beat it without, there's a reward for that.
Really?
It changes your stats. And if you do fail and you need Maria's assistance, then it gives you a potion or something to help you out. So
that's cool.
That's really intuitive too. But it puts you in a stressful situation like the main boss fight right off the beginning, and then it gives you a victory. And then it runs you through to death, and then, as you're going to him, you're destroying everything in one hit. You're a badass. You've got, if you check your equipment screen, you've got all of this armor and weapons and everything it's just it's the best in the game. It's the best you'll ever find in the game. And then you get to death, and they take that away. So you have a major failure. So they build you up, and then they take you down, and then they introduce you to the rest of the game to where you're extremely limited in the damage you can deal and everything, and then you're just kind of off on your own in this exploration. And that's where it starts taking Castlevania Simon's Quest, the second game on the old Nintendo, and they start actually making a good game of it and taking an open world type game and making a good Castlevania game out of it. But
yeah, it's definitely something I want to continue to play. I got so butthurt after that one failed save. I mean, I did go back and play another 2 hours after that, but
Really?
I
That's
just
good.
kind of burned my ass. Like, I could have been so much further by now.
Well, one thing in that game that I didn't understand until a lot later, and I still might be wrong, is when you die, it says something like, on the screen it'll say,
The night's
the
too
night's
young.
still young.
It's still young, yeah.
Let's go out or whatever. I thought that was telling me, hey, fuck off, you should go do something else.
It's like an
Like the Wii. Maybe you should set your controller down for a while. Take a
Earthbound,
break.
Earthbound did the same thing when you called your dad to save the game. He was like, it's good to get out of
Right.
the house sometimes. You know?
Stop being a fat Jabba the
And,
Hutt looking
what was
motherfucker.
it?
and
Final
play
Fantasy
video games.
11 will do the same thing too when he logged on. I can't remember who did the company for Final Fantasy 11 online, but it would say the same thing. It's good as sometimes you get out and see little son.
Like, go feed your children. Don't let them starve in a crib or anything.
Yes.
We don't want to be involved in your horrible lack of, being a human. But the thing in the end of the Castlevania thing when you die, it wasn't until a lot later I was like, maybe that's from Dracula's perspective. Maybe that's what he's telling his minions is, hey, the night's still young, the good guy's dead, let's go out on the town.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that might be what it is. But that's
Probably.
just
Virgin blood for everyone.
Yeah. Get the finest and non-GMO organic virgin blood. Oh, yeah.
What do you think? We're about
Castlevania out and Bloodstained out, I reckon. Before we get done with that, though, tell us again about the Bloodstained forums and your podcast.
Yes, plug yourself.
Plug it.
All right, it's not plugging me, but I'll plug the game. This game has an extraordinary amount of features that were unlocked. Because it was such a successful Kickstarter, there are a lot of meaty things that have been added to this game. And
they kind of just started just coming up with the features just to add because it got so successful, didn't they?
They had no idea it was going to be so successful, but they've added a lot to the game. Now, Kickstarter, it when you create a Kickstarter, they have you set up an expected completion date or delivery date for your product. That was done, we said March 2017, I think, was the date that Fangamer had chosen when they first made the campaign. They had no idea it was going to be so successful. So that date was before any stretch goals were met or anything like that. And you can't go back and change it. Kickstarter doesn't let you do that. So the game currently doesn't have a release date, but it does have a crap load of confirmed features. And you can check all of those out on igavania.com. That's IGAVANIA.com. And you can still actually pledge for that. They're doing a Slacker backer type open campaign where you can still get all of the exclusive things that are just for the backers. You can get cheap digital versions, or you can get
how much does the digital version run? Because I kind of thought about buying a few copies just to give away at Game Fest this year.
I think the digital versions might be around $28 if I remember off the top of my head right. But yeah, it's half the game of half the cost of a game when it's on the shelf. And this game will be released physically, so if people want to wait until it comes out in stores, you can do that too. But if you want some of the extra backer items, I've only ever pre-ordered for one game, and that was Portrait of Ruin. And when I did that, I got a collector's CD of all of some classic Castlevania music and some other things. I was really happy with that pre-order purchase. And there's just a lot of cool swag and stuff you can get for this game too. And plus, if you get in on it now, there's that digital version you can get for basically half the price.
That's sweet.
Yeah, and they're releasing a 3D prequel game too for it, and that's going to be free to backers. So you'll basically get 2 games.
It's awesome.
That's awesome.
And I've listened to your podcast some. It's really informative. Where could our listeners go find it again?
The forums is the best place to find it. If you go to bloodstainedfanforums.com and then just look for the subcategory of the Bloodstained Community Broadcast, you can find all of the episodes there. And it's got links to the YouTube, the Stitchers, iTunes. You can find it basically on any platform. But if you just have an RSS feeder that you want to get it from, that's got links at bloodstainedfanforums.com to the WordPress and stuff that can get you the RSS.
Okay, sweet.
Go check that shit out.
Yeah, go check it out.
It'd be in your best interest.
Yeah, I've listened to your guys' show too a lot. Probably about 13 episodes or
nice.
So I think I know you guys a little bit better than you know me.
You're probably our number one fan.
I'm your number one fan.
Our only fan.
I guess it's about that time we need to get in our question of the week.
Questions of the week. Let me pull this up real quick.
Guess we're going to get on to our question of the week.
Yep. Our question of the week for this week was, what retro game would you like to see rebooted or reimagined on modern systems?
We had quite a few answers on this.
Yes, we do.
One of our first ones was from Stephen Andrew. He said, Quest 64.
Oh, yeah. I want to say, though, even though I did play an embarrassing amount of hours in the Quest 64, because it was like one of the few RPGs on that system, they already did Quest 64 in modern systems. It's called World of Warcraft, and it sucks.
Well, he said it seemed like a real neat idea that pooped its own pants when it came out on the N64, and then the Game Boy Color port ended up having more content somehow.
Yeah, it blew my mind that I had a Game Boy Color port. I never knew that until
Yeah,
you mentioned
it
that.
did. I never played it, but I remember it. I played Quest 64, but never the Game Boy port.
I had a couple people say Double Dragon. I'm like, hey, they already did that. Double Dragon Neon.
Yep.
So it's on the picture.
See aforesaid picture. Matt Hacksaw Settler said Mighty Number 9 looks cool.
Yeah.
And that it does.
That it does.
Lynn Green says, as weird as it sounds, that an old NES game, The Adventures of Dino Ricky, which made me want to stop fucking playing Nintendo when I was a child. Fuck that game. Sorry, Lynn, but that's how I feel. Anyways, he said somehow I thought it was about it a while. Somehow I thought about it a while talking. That's not right. Somehow I thought about it while talking to some online buddies the other day, and I wouldn't mind seeing it remade, but with the same game style. No.
Very, very, very
No.
appropriate answer.
No.
Succinct and to the point.
I'm serious. Like, I remember my grandpa always, he was like my Nintendo buddy growing up. He played Nintendo games. He still plays Nintendo games. He rented me shit. We rented Dino Ricky. Never have I been more of an unhappy child. That game fucking makes me loathe Nintendo. It's so hard. It's one of those games.
Didn't
like,
it almost have like a vertical shooter type element
it's
to
like
it?
vertical shooter, but the screen moves up constantly, so you're constantly moving. And if you fuck up once, game over, man.
Game over, man.
You're just
Game
fucked. Like,
German, the First Hunter on Google Plus says Spy versus Spy. That would be.
As a Mad Magazine fan, I could see how someone would want that, but those original games were kind of rough a little bit.
Yeah.
should have been made by LJN.
No, it wasn't a movie first.
Missed opportunity on their part.
Wait a minute. Was it made by LJN?
I don't know.
It may
I don't
have
know.
been.
That's quite a possibility. Nick Hart said Adventure Island from NES. I agree with that.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Super Adventure Island is still one of my favorites. New Adventure Island for TurboGrafx is really good too.
It was Hudson sauce. Hudson sauce. The
Hudson
sauce.
sauce.
Put some sauce on it. They did the TurboGrafx, didn't it?
Yep.
That was the company behind that.
Hudson Soft and NEC.
Brought to you by Kanye West.
God damn it.
Why do you got to ruin it?
Another good one. Our buddy Nick Cook Wadner said, "Zombies ate my neighbors."
Oh,
That would be fucking amazing.
Awesome. That would be awesome.
I love that game. I still play it.
People do love their zombies.
Yeah.
It would probably do well.
Chasen Chandler said that the game I would like to see reimagined is Urban Chaos Right Response as far as modern titles are concerned, and Vector Man as far as retro
I would love to see
titles go.
Vector Man.
That could be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Earthworm Jim is mine. Do a fucking good new
good one.
Earthworm Jim.
2D, but HD.
Yeah, Earthworm Jim's a good answer. I like that, man. That's a good idea. I think I would like a Godzilla fighter. I mean, we've got Pacific Rim and stuff. We've got the new Godzilla movie. It was good.
We don't have that old school like King of Monsters Godzilla.
No,
like,
that's what we need. We need some good
You're-
2D
You're
side
preaching
fighting.
to the kaiju choir, man.
The kaiju choir.
I love me
that's
some
Brandon's
Godzilla.
area of
Screonk.
expertise.
One of my good friends, Dave Starnes, he said, I said Castlevania Simon's Quest. Very apropos here.
Hey, you got Simon's Quest. It's Symphony of the Night. They did it right.
Yeah.
They did the open world Castlevania.
And
You don't know what the hell you're doing. You're just going and doing it, and then you figure it out.
Dominic Gill said Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
I loved that
I
game.
would vouch for that.
I want to throw some apples at some people. That was a good game. That was a very good co-op game. I really like co-op games. And
We should.
yeah.
Nice.
Tonight.
You and all your CIB glory.
Oh, yeah, like the whole fucking 8 I have.
CID? Is that-
CIB.
Oh.
Comes in dick.
Let's see. Someone from the Bloodstained forums. Logan Somerville. He says his name is Redogan.
Oh, yeah, I know it again.
He said, I just wanted to shout out that the game I most want to see redone on modern systems is Castlevania. Thank goodness for Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Castlevania games are known for excellent gameplay and tons of secrets to uncover. It looks like Bloodstained will follow in those footsteps. Heck, even the forums have their secrets. What kind of
They do.
secrets?
Well...
Will they be secrets if you announce them?
I can give you a hint. If you enter a certain infamous code on the forums, you might see something special.
Does
A
it have
certain
something to
Konami
do
code?
with Blonami?
I can't give any more of a hint.
Never mind.
The secret won't get the FBI called to me, will it? Like,
It's not child pornography.
okay.
Thank God. Jeffrey Hargrove says Turok 2 sees evil. Why? Let me ask that. Why?
Good
Well,
call.
You know, and okay, that's fine. At least they didn't say Turok Rage Wars.
Hey, isn't there a game out now where you get to fight dinosaurs, robot dinosaurs?
Somebody else asked me about that the other day, and I was like, "Is it Ark?" And they're like, "No, it's not."
No, there's a new.
They were like, "Ark is dinosaurs," and they're like, "This is fucking robot dinosaurs."
Is
Yeah.
it Far Cry Blood Dragon?
No, I don't know, but
Far Cry Primal just come out, and I know it has nothing to do with robots.
all I know is there's a game out there where you can get a bow and arrow and go hunt robot dinosaurs, and it looks awesome. If you like Turok, find out whatever game I'm talking about and play it because it looks good.
Well, my own answer is goes back pretty far. A game I intend to get on the Odyssey 2 here for Game Fest, or at least for my own pleasure, is Quest for the Rings on the Odyssey 2. Have y'all seen any of that?
No,
Not a clue.
It is like D&D plus the Odyssey 2. It's basically it's got almost a board game aspect to it, and it has a an overlay for the keypad on the Odyssey 2, and the DM basically selects dungeons for the players to play through, and they have to play through on the Odyssey. I think that could be done really cool with modern technology. The virtual tabletops almost kind of do that, but not quite.
I do like virtual tabletops. My favorite's Fantasy Grounds 2. But, yeah, I love some D&D games. You keep talking about Pillars of Eternity. I got to check that out.
Oh,
'cause
it's
you make it sound
amazing.
really
Do you
good.
like Baldur's Gate any?
Oh, yeah. I love Baldur's Gate. And there's this new, well, I wouldn't say new. Divinity Original Sin Enhanced Edition is on sale right now.
I haven't
And
played those games yet.
I haven't either, but it looks like so good. And they just had a Kickstarter that was very successful for the follow-up for that will include more players. But
That's the game that had something hidden in the TOS where you could get some free shit from them if you emailed them, I believe.
like anyone reads those.
If 100 people did and they got free shit from it, or at least one person did and told 99 other people.
Yeah, that's what games need to do. Is like in your terms of service, if you actually read this, then you get something special in game
Yeah.
or something. Like, hey, by the way, here's this code if you enter it in.
Yep.
Something like that. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
But that's what you would have brought to a modern twist.
Yeah. I think modern technology could really make something like that awesome. Like the virtual tabletops are awesome, but there's nothing that really combines like real gameplay with D&D. All the tabletops use whatever systems that you would use, and it kind of holds your hand in the D&D process, but it's not like a full-fledged game that's incorporated with D&D.
Yeah, I really like. I've always all of my D&D friends are far and away from me nowadays. My first
Well,
game
yeah, this is Coleman, Alabama.
yeah,
We've been getting a
You have
pretty
found
serious
some new ones here.
Yeah, we've been getting a pretty serious D&D phone. Have you ever played Pathfinder?
I haven't played it, but I'm a fan of. I like the art style, and it sounds like I'm a big fan of 3.5 edition D&D.
Yeah.
That's what I DM'd a lot.
It's basically 3.75.
Yeah, that's what I hear. Is it's a lot like it. So
over there at our local nerd shop, Valhalla, I think every Saturday they do Pathfinder Society. So I haven't checked it out because I don't have the time. But if you really want to play, I think they usually have spots open.
Yeah. Valhalla sounds like a really great place. I've been in there, and they sell a lot of Magic cards. They sell comic books, and they've got, if you want a message board, pin up a little bit of advertisement for a D&D group. That's the place to do it around here.
I got some confirmation from them that they will be at Game Fest this time.
They will be handling our board game and card game
well,
section of
I
Game
am
Fest.
huge into board games. I am a big board game lover.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I actually went to Vault one. I mean, not Vault. I love Vault, but for board games, Valhalla had like a little board game night one night, and I went up there and played a little boss monster, which is based as a card game.
One.
It's a card game that's based on like boss monsters from old video games, like Mother Brain and King Croak from Mario Brothers 2 and stuff's in there.
Okay.
Is
that the one that has the generic Mario 2 art on the cover of the box?
Yeah, it's got all sorts of cool references. I actually went and bought that game because of that. My family, we play a lot of board games, a lot of little off-the-shelf type weird stuff that you normally wouldn't see. But yeah, I love board games too. So yeah, if we can get something like that at Game Fest, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
It's coming.
So what do you
we
want
got
to do for
a question for the week, this next coming week?
Yeah, for episode 48.
You want to turn something out for us, Mike?
I think our guests are from now on are going to be subjected to coming up with our question of the week.
Stump these motherfuckers, man. Stump the... You one of these motherfuckers that listens, stump yourself.
I can't remember what I thought.
Something about movies.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you could see your favorite, or if you could pick any video game franchise to be a movie, what would actually work well as a movie? I mean,
I like that.
I do
for the massive audience, you know how Hollywood, they butcher shit and change stuff so that it works
Look
kind
at
of
the
for
Resident
everybody.
Evil movies.
Yeah. Well, hey, the first one was cool. This last one, though, when you guys were telling me that people are getting their arms amputated off and people are dying on set.
Yeah, there's like
That
been
sounds
3
kinda
people
gross.
killed on set.
I'm more interested in the documentary of this movie than the movie
right,
itself.
no.
It's almost like Twilight Zone-ish. Like, is there a curse attached to this movie?
Oh, that's sick. But, if people out there have something that they want to see become a movie, a video game franchise turned into a movie, what would actually work well in Hollywood that everybody would like? The game people could enjoy and bring people from the movie into the game. What would work
That's so good. I almost answered right now.
Well, they got that Warcraft movie coming up, and I know you guys shit. You guys shit all over World of Warcraft. You know what? I haven't played World of Warcraft, but for maybe 2 months. But I like Hearthstone. It's all right. I'm kind of addicted to it. I'm kind of pissed off because I suck at it, but it's a good game to pick up and play.
So, have you tried Infinity Wars?
No, I haven't.
I liked it a lot more than Hearthstone.
Well,
it's also a lot more in depth than Hearthstone. It's not nearly as pick up and play.
There's a game called Faeria coming out that's a digital card game, and it was a Kickstarter game. Faeria, I think. But this game designer named Dan Felder, he has a great YouTube series on why Castlevania is such a well-designed NES game. He's part of a company that made this digital card game called Faeria, and it looks pretty good. So
I'll check that out.
Yeah, but I mean, I like Magic a little bit. I don't collect the cards much anymore.
I don't either because that's Skrilla, baby.
It is, man. You got to keep up with it because whatever you get, it gets outdated.
I
real
have
quick.
6 decks, and they're the same decks that have been made since like fucking 1999.
One day I've got a conspiracy cube. Do you know what cube draft is?
No.
What me and you played, right?
I showed it to you, but we haven't played it yet.
Okay.
A cube is basically a pre-made set of booster packs that you draft from. You ever drafted before, booster draft?
Only on Hearthstone. where you
Okay,
can
so you know
play arena.
you know the concept.
The basic
you get a
format
booster
of
pack.
it.
Open
You-
up booster packs and
You
build
take
a
a
deck
card,
and play
pass
with
it. Okay, I got a pre-made cube of conspiracy cards. Conspiracy is the only Magic set made for drafting. So I got all these resealable booster packs in there, so we can just draft any time out of that.
So there's going to be a Good Old Gamers Magic episode too, where we
Yeah.
do that.
Well,
I'll
hey
have to-
guys, I got to say, man, from the little bit of trolling around here in Coleman, I can see that there is definitely an interest in Magic.
Oh,
yeah.
definitely.
Oh, yeah. At Valhalla, there's always people up there
Yeah, there
playing. So if you guys cover a little bit of that and get some of those folks involved with maybe some video games and get our video game folks involved with some Magic, it would be good for this location here.
yeah, it would.
It would aid in the formation of a community.
Hell
Is
yeah.
what we actually fucking. Community is a tossed about word, but
I
that's
like
something
community.
you actually. It's nice. Like
Yeah.
it's nice being able to get together with like-minded people and not just be like, oh, fuck this and fuck that. You know,
We need to all bitch about Kanye West in one location together.
goddamn right.
I need
And,
everyone together in one location so I can tell them all to go fuck themselves.
You're damn right. You know, that's part of the appeal of it.
Yeah.
That's it, isn't it?
Yep.
Too bad we don't have any hot and steamies, man.
No hot and
No
steamy
hot and
tonight.
steamy tonight.
You got to get through those Steam games so we
I
can
do,
see you
I
play some
do.
other stuff.
You're never going to.
I put the time into Castlevania.
You're never gonna win. You're never gonna win.
I will one day. I will defeat Steam. I will beat Steam.
Steam
I will complete Steam.
is like fucking Willy Wonka's chocolate factory, and you're the person out front that's like, nobody goes in, and nobody ever comes out. And you just push your fucking Tinker card off.
No, I'm the fat kid who like dove in the chocolate river and gets stuck in the pot.
You're Augustus Gloop. Oh, my Augustus! That room doesn't go down there. It goes to the boiler room. What? He'll be born alive. I know it.
The Humble Bundle will get you. I mean,
It does.
It'll throw so
It's
many
so
games
easy. I can get like 20 games for
for
a dollar.
Yeah, it's so good. The last games I got, let's see, it was Undertale. Just finished that.
I
Love
have to get it.
it. It was good.
Okay, since you've played, you've completed.
I've
Undertale, right?
completed the good guy run of it, like the true good guy run. Of
Have
it, not
you
just
seen
neutral.
the game? Do you watch any of the
Pacifist.
game theory videos that are out?
No, I haven't.
There's a game theory video where it's saying that Earthbound and Undertale are really connected, big time.
Well, okay, I was talking about Fangamer earlier. They're big Earthbound guys. Well, Toby, the guy that made Undertale, he's a friend of Fangamer. When they had the Earthbound convention, Toby was there in person with them, and he's good friends with all those guys. So I know that Undertale is heavily inspired by Earthbound. I mean, the first character that you meet, you get to decide whether to call her mother or not. There's obviously some
Nods.
fan tribes there, but I follow that Toby fella on Twitter, and he said something about fan theories, about stuff that people are looking at, things that he has said when he was like 16 years old or something, trying to put all this stuff together.
It's kind of like Jar Jar Binks.
The one I
He's not a
watched,
No.
Sith. He's not a Sith.
the one I
Lord.
watched was talking about like one of the main villains in Undertale and how he's related to Ness.
Well, okay, tell me
Pretty much.
what you know, because I want to know.
It's pretty much saying I'm trying to. It's a skeleton dude. I've never played Undertale, so I don't know. But it's
I've never finished Earthbound.
well. There's a skeleton guy.
Well, I've finished
on
Earthbound
there
20 times.
that-
Let's combine forces.
There's a skeleton guy on there that talks a lot of stuff about like wanting to be human again, but he can't go back to being human. And it's all this, and
I wonder if it's referring to Ness when he became a robot temporarily.
that it relates to that, where they put their souls into the robots to go and fight. It relates to that, but it's like an alternate timeline somehow that if Ness never comes back, he turns.
Oh yeah,
into
they
this
put him in there,
character.
expecting him to not come back.
I don't know. We're gonna watch this fucking video after we record this because it's very. I'm not 100% knowledgeable Earthbound, but it's very in depth, and it's pretty much how there's an alternate storyline where Ness never come back to his body, and ended up being this guy. And the reason, another way they relate it, the guy that made Undertale also made a fan hack of Earthbound that was a Halloween edition. And in the Halloween edition, their souls get lost from their bodies. And it kind of ties into this
When
character.
it comes to
too.
like fan Earthbound
It's some
theories,
crazy shit.
I'm still a big fan of the Pokius Gygus theory. Like that explained way back on like episode 5.
That was pretty intense. I watched that one.
With our powers combined, Captain Planet will form an
Yes.
opinion on this theory.
What all was it? It was like
Heart.
Earth.
I just remember Heart.
That's they're
Earth,
all
wind,
like,
and fire.
Earth, wind, fire, something.
Water.
Heart.
Captain Planet. He's a hero.
Dude, I just remember that
Gotta
one,
take pollution
that one
down to 0.
shitty ass villain, the chick from
The
fucking
BP oil
had
spill.
that
like,
had the fucking. She just had the emo hair that was lopped over one. You just only ever saw one eye.
it's B-
What a asshole.
BP. Like,
Yeah, we're gonna fuck these oceans up.
fuck the ocean. I hate the oceans. Nothing good ever comes from it.
100,000 gallons of oil every 30 minutes.
But yeah, we need to wrap it up.
Answer our question. Real quick, we have a phone number.
682-777-GOOD.
If you don't call us, bad things will happen,
Very bad things.
Bad things indeed.
such as
For those of you who haven't called the show, a warning. If you do not call, you will awaken Satan. An infant shall fall from the sky. Bears will feast on the slow and the witless. Vaginas will turn to stone. Serpents rise from the ground. Fly into your sphincter and bite. Demons will travel back in time and rape your father. Hell, Satan! You've been warned.
been fucking warned. That's what happens if you
How
don't
can
call.
you not call the show after you hear that?
You know, I'm cool with all except
just
for the
don't care.
vaginas part. Like,
You just don't care. That's what your problem
I don't
is.
like vaginas when they turn to stone.
no.
I like my
No, I think it would be
vaginas
pretty
fleshy.
sweet if infants fell from the sky. I'd be like, oh, I'm calling into work today. Sorry, boss, but
It's raining infants.
it's drowning infants. I might do some windshield damage. Like,
This is worse than Hellstones. Look us up on our Facebook page, Good Ole Gamers Podcast.
Yep.
Look us up on our website, goodolegamers.com. Stitcher, iTunes, all that shit. Give us reviews on iTunes. Nobody has, but if you'd like to, we'd certainly fucking appreciate it.
It's Apple. Who cares about Apple?
Yeah.
No one wants to install
Crapple.
iTunes to rate your podcast.
I
Find
don't
it-
blame them. I don't blame them at all.
Not
But
at
if
all.
you do have iTunes and you're listening to this, why haven't
if
you
you've
rated
been
the
if you've
show?
been conned and buying an Apple device, at least do this much. Like, make something good come out of
You've
your poor
already
decisions.
fucked up once. Don't fuck up twice. You can get us on Stitcher,
Tune in.
YouTube. We're on YouTube. Tune in.
Or sort of on YouTube. We got our audio on YouTube. We'll eventually have real live video on YouTube. Eventually.
All you
Like
need
we
is the
said
audio.
last week.
That's all I do.
Well, like we said last week, if you'd like to donate money for the Good Ole Gamers We Need a Camera Fund, you can do that.
And then you get to see what these guys look like.
It ain't good.
It is fucking terrible.
Yeah.
You're kind of unnerved, aren't you?
Well, I'm just saying that normally when I listen to this show, it plays dueling banjos, an 8-bit version, and I was afraid that my butt cherry might get raped. when I
It
came
will.
in.
You thought you were about to come onto the set of The Hills Have Eyes.
There is a large black box that looks very Pulp Fiction in the corner of this room, and I'm afraid there might be a human gimp inside.
We can only hope.
Please don't put me in that box.
We won't. We'll refrain from that shit.
Please don't steal my butt cherry.
At least, while we're, legally implied of doing so on the podcast.
Indeed.
What happens off the podcast where you're not held liable for?
Is this live? Is this being streamed? Can someone please call the police?
They'll hear you next week.
Help me.
In cyberspace, no one can hear you scream.
Squeal like a pig.
Don't forget,
Uh,
March 19th, Huntsville Comic and Pop Culture Expo.
10:15 a.m.
We are
Or the opening act.
Yeah, get there. Think of a good question to troll these guys with
Yes.
while they're up on a
Come
panel and
heckle
all
us,
nervous.
please. I would love that.
Work my blood pressure up so I yell at you in the first 5 minutes of the discussion panel.
I can't tell you to go fuck yourself, but I will try it in the most PG terms
If
that I
you
can.
want to find Brandon in the parking lot afterwards, though, he would be gladly to tell you to go fuck yourself amongst a plethora of other things.
Just
he could probably
come
say
and
to
come
you.
and talk about how much the prequels were a good thing. That it showed that Jedi's could do shit like run fast and actually
and do
stuff
that,
more.
and Lyle will punch you in the fucking face because we can't have that.
Darth Maul's lightsaber battle was the best battle in Star Wars, and you just need to
You're
appreciate
fucking
it.
blaspheming on our shit.
Hey, if
Don't-
I'm gonna get raped in the ass for this, I'm at least gonna get some Star Wars prequel
or
jabs.
you definitely gonna get a raping.
No lube now. The lotion does not go in the basket now.
There's no way.
It only goes on the ground.
My lotion privileges have been revoked.
Well, you listen to us. You know what we say at the end of this episode, don't you?
Game over, man. Game over.
Ouch! I fell and hurt my stomach.